Good evening and welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the coach. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. He's the coach, Philip Roybal. And if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome back to the show, Coach. Good to see you.
Hey, great to be back, man. Lots of football under our belt this last weekend. Uh, I know, just like every weekend, we have those that are happy and those that are unhappy and those that just don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah. You can be in either the first or the last, but you can't be in the middle one with you when you win like you guys are winning. I'm
Yeah.
fucking irritated. Just so you know, I'm irritated. I ain't happy about this shit. I don't think any Oklahoma fan is, particularly if they went to that game. They freaking herd you in like cattle, don't even give you water, and then you watch a debacle like that. Wasn't exactly fun. Wasn't
Well,
exactly fun for
they
anybody.
were heading in the horns, man. Herding in the horns.
That's the fifth time I've been to one of those games. I'm, 3-2 on the, going in. I've been to a couple of losses now. They're not fun. They're freaking not fun, particularly when it goes kind of how this one went. We'll talk a little bit about it, obviously. But welcome into the show, Kent Sterling, Comanche Sooner, Stephen G. Lou Becker. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. Want to get you guys to make sure that you wipe your feet when you come in to this house.
Absolutely.
Got to make sure we don't have a bunch of freeloaders in here like we have been. Even you Texas ass clowns are welcome to come in. Just make sure you hit the damn like button, and we'll be good to go. Uh,
Or the dislike. We don't give a shit.
facts. It really doesn't matter that much. Either way you do it, as long as you just do something with the stream, we're good to go. Coach, and we're going to talk about a few different things, but I wanted to take that first 30 minutes or so to kind of get your thoughts on what you see with this Oklahoma football team. I know we've talked a lot about a lot of similarities between Notre Dame and OU and where they're headed and all that kind of stuff. I think that we've seen some things over the past few weeks, and I think Oklahoma's obviously went through some things that and I know Notre Dame kind of has too, but not necessarily to the extent that what we're seeing here, because you guys are still putting up points. I think earlier in the year, Notre Dame was struggling to get the ball in the end zone. We're not seeing as much of that the last 3 or 4 weeks in particular.
Right.
But with Oklahoma is we're talking now we're at like 3-4 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks of play. And it's just, man, it's rough, because if you look at this
Frustrating.
game, the game the other day, you hold Texas to 13 total yards in the first quarter, have a turnover, and you have 3 points to show for it. You get a missed field goal. I mean, really, theoretically, you should be up. Any other time that Oklahoma does that with their offense, they're going to probably be up 10, 13, nothing probably at that point,
Right. Right.
Um, in this case, it just seems like there's nothing really going on. But before I get too far into how I feel about it, I wanted to bring this up to you because a lot of people are calling for the heads of the co-offensive coordinators, Joe John Finley, and of course Seth Luttrell, who does the play calling. And my first thing I wanted to just kind of get your thoughts on what you saw in the game. I know you saw bits and pieces of it.
I did.
More about what was going on, but what are your thoughts as far as the game, and how it kind of went overall?
Well, I tell you what, I was truly disappointed to see the way the game went. I was hoping to see a closer ball game than what we saw. Uh, Disappointed in the OU offense. Wow, I mean, y'all looked like we looked in week two. Y'all looked horrendous. Now the question becomes obviously, why do you look horrendous? Uh, and I again, I'm going to go back to some of those things that I've talked about And, I know your quarterback from a year ago had a pretty good ball game and won a big ball game. And all OU fans were ready to hang him up and tar and feather him a year ago. And then we talked about your quarterback this year, that he was going to be the saving grace, and now he's out, and you got a freshman in, and so, and then you got, we fans were actually wearing out the offense coordinator last year, and now we're back at it again, and so what that leads me to believe, Jason, is right now there's not the consistency that team is looking for. Whether it's your quarterback, whether it's your coordinator. First of all, I'll tell you this: I never did, I never would, as a coach, and I don't like the fact when you talk about co-coordinators. Either you got a damn coordinator or you don't have a coordinator. If it takes two of your asses to run an offense, we got a damn problem. So that's one of the things that I definitely don't like is this. And I don't know how much is given to each one of those coaches on decision making, but still. And when you do a co-coordinator scenario, you leave. I don't care if they're even great friends, but you leave yourself open for some disagreement. That if the guys see any of that at all on the team, that brings dissension within the ranks. And I'm not saying that's going on. I'm just simply laying some things out there that have kind of bothered me for a while now with the OU program. But they definitely have got to do something to fix that anemic offense of the last few weeks.
Yeah.
What is
128th in yards per play? I mean, that's one
not
of the things that they're in the hundreds. This is absolutely unacceptable. Look,
that's not OU football.
It hasn't. And look, I've eaten a healthy amount of crow for my assessment of the Longhorns coming into the game, and it's fair. You know what I mean? I think that they're a hell of a lot better. It's fair that we didn't think a whole lot of what they were, whether it be on the defensive line and the defensive backfield. I think that they are a hell of a football team. I don't know that I necessarily think they're the best team in the country, but I certainly think they're one of them. So whether
we're
or not
going to find out this weekend.
I think you will, and I think you've seen some chinks in the armor of Georgia too. So
yeah, both of them. I don't believe there's a team in the country that doesn't have some weakness.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's Comanche Sooner comes in with 131st and 20 plus yard plays, which is the chunk plays, the big plays, the ones that you have to get explosive plays, just not happening. Again, as I said, what I came away with, and I was close to the action, and so what I came away with seeing a lot of, and I think we've heard this a lot, is that the most disheartening part for me was. Forget about the fact of what they did in the first quarter. But the most disheartening part for me was the fact that you look at that football team and they just look bigger, stronger, faster, coach. Are they that far behind Texas right now? I mean, is it possible that they could be that far behind Texas? I know they're a year behind in the rebuild from when they, added these two new coaches.
Again, you got to hand it to Texas. They've been doing a hell of a job recruiting. They've got talent now And they've had talent in the past. Don't misunderstand. But as much as I hate to admit it, Sark's doing something right because they are. I mean, here they are set number one. I mean, what was the last time they were number one in the nation? 1989 or so.
Well, the last time they played Oklahoma as the number one team in the country was 84. They've been number one since then, obviously, but because they won the national championship in 09. Now, I don't know how many times they would have hit number one that year. In fact, they probably didn't, because that was USC that year that was pretty much number one the entire year. They hadn't lost a game in a couple of years, so they were definitely number one, I think. But they finished number one after winning the BCS championship in the Rose Bowl. So, but aside from that, I don't know that they've ascended to number one since then for sure. And they've done it twice this year. They're still undefeated. Again, I think that this was their first time of getting tested in any way. I don't know how much the offense tested them because I just don't know where I think this is at. I guess that being said, let's talk this OU situation, this OC situation that's going on in Norman. Though there's a rash of injuries that have plagued this football team from the start. Headed into SEC play, you ended up where you basically once during the Tennessee game, you ended up losing the fifth of your top 5 wide receivers to injury when Deion Burks went out of the game. You've had pretty much a new offensive line every week except for the last 2 games where they've played the same one, but you're not getting a ton of push there. But look, we talked about where they are and what they're doing. And a lot of people, if you're watching it as close as we are, I think the main thing that we came away with, I talked to K. Chris the other night. I talked to Coach Ricks the other night. I talked to Legend the other night, right after the game. And the thought was 2 weeks that you have to game plan for this. And this is the fucking game plan you come up with and don't even put a single touchdown on the board. And it's disheartening because of the fact of how good this defense is, And so, so I guess my question is this. I'm of the opinion that better or worse, you made the choice to move on from Jackson Arnold because of the performance with Tennessee. Now, it wasn't just because of that. It was kind of leading up to that for weeks. For better or worse, you made that choice. All signs to me pointed to they do point to Arnold leaving in the portal at the end of the year, regardless of whether or not you were to reinsert him as the quarterback. He's gone, right?
You're right back to where you were. Yeah.
So therefore, I think, for lack of a better term, Brent Venables is stuck in the decision to replace him with Michael Hawkins, no matter what you want. Now, I'm a Hawkins guy. Because if you walk back on this, though, not only does Jackson walk at the end of the season, because it doesn't, as I said, I don't think it matters whether or not you reinsert him. I think he's out. But if you do,
the line's been drawn in the sand.
Right. And he's done. Doubled down on the decision more than once since the game. Yeah. So I think it's clear who he prefers as his quarterback. Right. So he's stuck on that. But if you walk that back now, and I'll just say it, I think Hawkins has the better upside as a QB. He's got a better arm. He's more athletic. He's faster, quicker. I think that he's made decisions in a quicker fashion aside from this past weekend. But I think that he's the guy moving forward. So I wouldn't make that move. I know a lot of people have talked about that. I think it's a terrible idea. What say you about that? Is that something that you would?
Well, I'm going to go back to this, and then I'll move quickly off of it. But again, y'all thought the same thing about Arnold. Same thing. Same. I mean, it's almost exactly the same. But I will say this. Just like you said, Jason, the decision has been made. Hawkins is the guy, and that's who y'all need to stay with. Whether he plays shitty, whether he plays good, whatever happens, he needs to be the guy for the rest of the season. unless obviously injury or something. And you're right. Arnold is going to jump in the portal, and he's leaving.
Right.
But at some point, there's got to become that consistency in a quarterback that there's buy-in.
No two ways around it.
And let's keep him good, bad, or indifferent. And Hawkins is a good one too, but so was Arnold.
Yeah, I think that the difference that what we saw between Hawkins and Arnold, and I mean, look, I'm just going to say this, guys. I think it's fair to argue the point of what I just said, in favor of Jackson Arnold, if that's what you believe. But again, it feels to me like no matter what you feel, that ship has certainly sailed.
Yep.
Now that player movement is really in no way, shape, or form restricted for these guys, they can go wherever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want. I think that ship is sailed. I don't think that there's anything that you can do to keep Jackson Arnold around when there's.
And you don't want to. And you don't want to.
No, probably not. Probably not. Now, that being said, this is where I've kind of value your input the most. You've coached at high level, man. You've been a head coach at the highest of levels in Texas high school football. You've coached in college, but you've been a head coach in situations where it's basically run like a college program. And once you get to those levels, it's kind of what it is. I venture to say there really probably hadn't been very many scenarios that you haven't run into, either directly or indirectly as the head coach. And I'm sure you've seen both sides of discussions like these ones where you've got a quarterback situation, you've got a coordinator situation where, from everything we saw from his press availability today, Brent Venables is not interested in making a midseason move. Now, I have a hard time with that. And the reason I do is this, and this is the one thing I want to say is, I'm just going to put this part out there, but then I want to get your opinion on it is, look, he's kind of faced with this idea of there's two choices. You either make this change right now or you don't. You wait till the end of the season. Now, the way I look at it is this, and even though I think looking at this football team, there's no way that you're going to pick them to make a run for the playoff at this point, even though they only have 2 losses, and theoretically it could happen. Right. But here's my thoughts. First off, there's a number of we don't have to get into what we think about the hire. I think most people would agree it was a bit of a lazy hire. But I also would tell you that most people were okay with this hire until it started not working. Right. So I'm not going to go too far. And I was one of the people that included in that. What I will say is, to me, I'm of the opinion that you do make the change now if you're Brent Venables, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First and foremost, I believe that it's a pivotal time for Brent Venables, and not just for this Oklahoma season right now, but for his future as the head coach in Norman. At 4-2, you still have an opportunity, at least theoretically, to reach every goal you set for yourself prior to this season. And obviously it doesn't look like that's the case at this moment. But to me, if you replace these guys on an interim basis with either, let's say, Emmett Jones, who's the wide receiver coach, recruiter extraordinaire, or Big Bill, Bill Bedenbaugh, you could replace with either and see if that gives a spark to your football team, right? Not only that, it also gives you an opportunity to decide whether or not moving forward they're viable candidates for the job. Maybe you have the guy here on staff. Again, I think that you need to do a national search, but at least you would know something about whether or not you like the way that he calls plays, whether either one of those guys or not. Okay. And what this does to me is a couple of things. Personally, I think that it shows his players that, number one, he's not giving up on this season, and therefore neither should they. I'm not giving up on this season. Don't you do it either. We heard a little bit from Danny Stutzman yesterday. Hey, we're 4-2, not 2-4. So that's the right way. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Number two, there's nothing he's showing his players, and not only his players, but recruits moving forward, that there isn't anything that he won't do to give his team the best chance to have success. In my mind, that decision sends that message to all those recruits. It sends those messages to the players on this team who you are still recruiting all the time to keep them from year to year. No two ways around it. You have a class that looks like it's going to be really good, but that's a good message to send, in my opinion. What I would say, putting yourself in Venable's shoes, what message do you think he's sending by not doing this? And if he's not looking to make a change like that, then that is what it is. What message do you think you're sending to the team, the recruits, your employer? All of whom are, for better or worse, watching every move you make right now as the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners.
Well, I'm going to start with this, and I've talked about the similarities in our coach and y'all's coach, and both defensive-minded guys, which it really, those are two different worlds. Offense, defense are two different worlds, way, way far apart in so many ways. And so defensive head coaches obviously struggle, especially with today and the high-tech offenses that are run. I think you're correct in making the statement earlier that BV made probably the easy hire instead of really going out there and searching the land for the best guy. And I think that's one of the problems is BV's a defensive-minded guy. So it's hard for him to really be able to understand the offensive side of the ball. Number two, if he makes the change right now, and you alluded to this, he's telling the players, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm telling the administration, I'm telling the fans. But there's also a flip side to that. He's also telling recruits and others that, you know what, when times get hard, you may be the target that's gone. And I truly believe that. And that might not be the case. But there's a flip side. Everything has there's a 180 to every decision that you make. I, as a head coach, and I have had this scenario happen, had an offense that wasn't productive, and we went in, we sat down, and we had some hard conversations, and I became, as the head coach, became way more involved in what was going on offensively.
Right. Game planning, play calling.
The whole thing. Almost to the point that I was calling the offense almost. Because, again, if your shit ain't working, then I'm fixing to help you with it. So I've got mixed emotions about getting rid of him in the middle of the season.
Can I interject something real quick there? Because I agree with you, man. I just want to ask you this though.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like I know that you would do that. In fact, I've watched you do that. The problem with that I'm seeing there is that Venables has not. It doesn't feel like he's taken full ownership of this football team. And when I say that, I mean they're so detailed in what they're doing defensively. So detailed. I mean, down to the letter, to the quarter inch. And yet he doesn't spend a whole lot of time with the offense. He doesn't take time to love the game plan, hate the game plan, critique the game plan, critique the what's going on. There's substitution patterns, which I fucking hate. Particularly when it comes to that running back room, and it drives me fucking nuts. And I just feel like as really pointed and detailed as he is on the defensive side of the ball, he's not on this other side, right?
That's because that's what he knows.
Right.
He doesn't, and I alluded to this earlier, he doesn't understand the detail of the offensive side of the ball. And so it's hard to do that when you don't know it. And I'm not saying, he knows the basics, but there's a lot that goes. I mean, offensive football, you get down to, you talk about offensive line, guys. Offensive line is a hell of a thing to coach, because you're talking about each step that you take. There's so much that goes into it, and a defensive-minded coach doesn't necessarily know all those aspects to the game. But again, whether he does or he doesn't know, he needs to get in there and have those conversations and challenge his offensive staff, starting with his coordinator. Now, I tell you what I would do. I'd pick one of those offense coordinators and say, you're in charge. Because one guy needs to be running the damn offense, not two.
I think it was a terrible decision to do that. And I think if you were going to go if you were going to go the in-house route, I think he picked the wrong guy. He should have went with Matt Wells. Matt didn't lose his job at Texas Tech because they were sucky.
No,
that's not why he lost it. He had issues with Kirby Hockett and administration stuff that was going on there. It didn't have anything to do with the X's and O's on the field. And if we're watching what's going on at K-State right now, we see why. They're still fine offensively.
Absolutely.
But I think that, again, you had the opportunity to go after Brendan Marion, which I don't know how many people are in love with Brendan Marion. I like him. I like the go-go offense. I think people think of it as gimmicky, but I don't really care what it looks like. I know that they run well out of it and they throw well out of it, and that's the important part for me. But I guess, and I'm with you on that too. I guess I understand where you're going with it. I know that maybe you don't make that move, but to me, can you see where I'm coming from as to why people would think, hey, maybe this is an opportunity you need to take a look at?
Oh, yeah.
Is Emmett Jones ready to be
Jason,
a coordinator?
I'm going to tell you, as fans, people are going to come with those kinds of things. I mean, when you're grabbing for shit, I mean, there's one thing to grab at. I'm going to tell you, Notre Dame hired one of the top offensive coordinators in the country. Okay. Hey, we had people calling for his head.
Yeah.
And guys, that's not always the immediate answer. You know what? Find ways to improve with what you're doing. Now, you know what? At the end of the season, I sit down. As soon as the season's over, I sit down with the coordinator and say, look, coach, these were the good things you did. These were the not so good things you did.
Sure.
And then after we have that discussion, then I'm going to say to you, you know what, coach, it was great working with you, but you need to go ahead and go find another job.
Right.
If you do it on your own, it's better for you, because if not, I'm going to fire your ass. Or, hey, coach, you did a great job. We still have some things to improve on, but I look forward to working with you again next year. But Brent Venables has got to do something, and you're correct. I don't think firing the coordinator is the right thing, but I do think he's got to step up and do something to show that, you know what, I'm worried about this offense.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the scheme. I'm worried about the plays we're running. There's problems.
Right.
So he's got to do something, Jason.
No, I understand. I feel like he has to do something. I feel like this is something that needed to probably happen. But to me, It doesn't sound like it's gonna happen. I think you're in, and I think that puts you in danger of, because if you see what Bagman's talking about, didn't Purdue put up 41 after firing their whack OC, which their whack OC, a lot of people are talking about him as the next OC at Oklahoma, which I'm going to tell you, I'm not a fan of that idea. I'm not. And
guys, they were horrible.
A different situation at Purdue than it is here. But I'm just going to let you know that this isn't the first time that guy's been let go either, Graham Harrell. So I hope that you don't see that. Now, okay, there's another thought though. What about demoting him? Could you?
You could, Jason. You could definitely demote him and move somebody up. Do you have anybody on staff to move up?
Yeah, I think Emmett Jones. I think Bill Bedenbaugh. I think the reason I look at Bill Bedenbaugh, and I don't know, I think that could actually be a dangerous move, because if he gets it and they do well, he's going to want to remain the coordinator. And then if he doesn't become the coordinator at the end of the year, then you just lost your offensive line coach.
But you know what?
They would be just fine with that. But that means you also lose a couple of 5-star talent offensive linemen coming in, and you're struggling on the line right now.
But you can't worry about that shit right now.
Sure.
You got to right the ship right now.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If he does well, then he should remain probably as the OC. If he doesn't do worth his shit, he's gonna know well enough that, you know what, I need to go back to my offensive line.
Right. That's true.
So I think if you're gonna do it, make the move now and go with it.
Okay.
So that I could see. Has he ever been an OC?
I don't think so. Maybe though. I'm not positive about that, to be quite honest with you.
Because it is a challenge. It's, now I saw my good friend Sooner Legend say something about people could draw up plays better. Guys, don't bust their balls that bad. It's not that. I mean, it's easy to sit our asses over here and talk about how bad coaches are. And I'm telling you, I've ridden the horse on the other side, and you know what? It's a tough damn job. I don't care how you slice it or dice it. So don't say we can sit over here and draw up better plays. That kind of shit just drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm going to be defensive because I lived in that world.
And this is why I brought you in. Look, I didn't ask you to come in here and give us what we want to hear shit. This is where that's not what I asked of you. And I don't want, and I knew you wouldn't anyway. But I knew you wouldn't anyway, but that's not what I wouldn't even have brought it up if I thought that I needed you to come in here and agree with everything we were saying, because I just don't feel that way. Because I'll tell you that I think that they should have fired their asses. I really do. I think that that's an opportunity to send a message to everybody that whether it be the guys on in the program right now, even the defensive guys in this program that may be feeling like, son of a bitch, we're doing whatever we can here. And we're making stops, we're doing our part, and then we end up on the field too damn much. And sooner or later the dam's gonna break. You get 9 3-and-outs in a row, the dam's gonna break.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it felt like, how I feel about Teddy and Gabe, Teddy Lehman, Gabe Eichert in the Oklahoma breakdown, and they break it down very well. They're both All-Americans, former Sooners. Teddy, of course, being one of the better linebackers in Oklahoma history. Gabe is the only 3-time All-American in Oklahoma history. They know their shit. And both of them were saying this kind of, without coming out and calling for jobs, saying they don't understand. And, Gabe's talking about I didn't understand the concepts that they tried to come up with for this game plan, that it was very complicated for a young line, a young quarterback. And there was a lot of complicated stuff that you're not really building upon anything. And that's where I think as offenses goes, particularly when you start talking about run concepts. Everything you do with a run concept, this I know for sure, is you are building to something else. We talked about this when, with Levy and the jet sweep last year, that he never really built upon the run concept of doing that stuff, right? You have to really, and it just doesn't seem like that's what Seth is doing. I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that it's one of those worrisome things, because I'm one of those guys that believes that Brent Venables is the right guy for this job.
I still believe that. I do.
I think it's getting harder to buy into that, though, when you haven't really you haven't really graduated to that do the whole thing shit yet, Coach.
Oh, I know. Hey, we're speaking the same language. Marcus Freeman they're in the same boat. It's same kind of shit.
Yeah.
Hell, at least y'all got beat by the number one team in the country. We got beat by a damn MAC school.
Yeah. Well, again, and the thing is that, Venables knows that the standard is the standard, and then nobody's going to be okay with losing. It doesn't matter who the hell you lose to. No. And whether or not it's your first year in the SEC or any of that shit, nobody cares.
Hey, I like what Jimmy Satterfield said over here, but Beaton Bowe has enough on his plate with this crappy old line.
Facts. Welcome into the show, our friend Coach Ricks. What's up,
Coach Ricks?
What's going on, fellas? How's everyone doing?
What's up, my brother?
We're doing.
Oh man, just getting in and listening to you guys, man, and just trying to stay stress free. Stay stress free. That's pretty much it.
Hey, this week I can say, Coach Ricks, I'm doing better than you guys.
Facts.
Man, look, I know when Notre Dame got beat, I know how you felt, because you knew your team was better than the way they played.
Just like y'all did this last weekend.
Man, it's just something I don't want to use that word internal, because I think it's not internal. I just think that some of the things are not lining up the way they're supposed to.
Right.
But this is going to be a trying time for BV to get this on the right page, because everything's looking at him now.
Yeah, there's no doubt. BV is now officially on the hot seat.
Yeah, and that's sad.
He truly is. I mean, you can slice it, dice it, however you want, but he is officially on the hot seat after that ball game.
Well, Coach, let me ask you this. Let me ask you something. I'll listen to you guys talk. Does it make a difference who you lose to? Or, you can say, I heard what you said, number one team, but does it really matter who it is? Is it the way that you play?
I think it's a combination of the two. I think, first of all, Oklahoma doesn't get beat by Texas, and so that's number one. And then number two, you don't get your ass thumped by Texas the way that y'all did this weekend, and I think those two things weigh in heavily on that. And that's like I told everybody.
It's not just getting your ass whipped this weekend. This is 2 out of 3 years that you haven't put a damn touchdown on the board.
Yeah. And that definitely haunts you. And I mean, and yes, I'm going to speak for Notre Dame in this too, because week 2 we get beat by a damn MAC school. I mean, does it matter who it's against? Yeah. And again, how did we play? Like crap. And so a lot of, at least, and again, like I said, at least you guys got beat by the number one team in the country. We got beat by a damn MAC school. And again, the season is not over for OU.
No.
There's still a lot out there in front for this football team. The answer becomes, and Coach Ricks, you've been there many times, how do you get off up the damn ground, dust yourself off, and go get some more and get after it? I think that's going to To me, that's going to be the telltale sign for me
Woman. Fucking
of what
calm
kind
down.
of football team OU has.
Yeah. Well, it's all hands on deck. I think you have to, that old saying, that old movie, clear the mechanism. You have to
Yep.
shut out everything. Of course, you're gonna hear fans and the social media is going
Sure.
to make you question um, this and that. So I'm just hoping,
Yeah.
man, that everything veers in the right direction because it really is. This game right here, this game coming up this Saturday is really going to be a defining moment on how things go going forward.
Agree. The
Because, like
rest of the
Jason just
season.
said, it only gets tougher.
Yeah.
It only gets tougher. And yeah, Alabama's struggling. So is Ole Miss. But we're struggling just as bad as those guys. At least they can score points. They just have a tendency to not be able to stop people. But if you
Yeah.
can't score, it doesn't matter about all that and everything. So we're going to have to give more effort on the offensive side to help the defense out as well.
Coach, and I got a question for you. I know you watched the ball game in its entirety.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the offensive? Is it the play calling? Is it uh, poor execution? Is it poor offensive line play? Is it poor quarterback play? What is it?
It's a little bit of execution. Um, as an offensive coordinator, you know your guys. You know who to put in for right plays, what to run on third downs or second downs and so many inches and things like that. I just think honestly, he was searching for something to work
Right.
instead of having a game plan of this is what we're gonna do. One thing I like about Steve Sarkisian, Sark,
Yeah.
he's gonna call plays. He's gonna call plays, and he's gonna keep on, even if it don't work. He's
Yeah.
gonna keep on calling plays. And I think that we just got lost in the you can't play stagnant. You can't play that old saying, you can't play not to lose
Yeah.
instead of playing to win. I'm going to play to win. I'm never going to take my foot off the gas. I'm never going to do any of that crap that some teams do. And I don't know, Jason, man. Maybe you can. I don't know, man. Like I said, this is like my second time being online since the ball game, and because I try to stay away from it because it bothers me to read the things that goes on out there, knowing that this team has so much potential and they can do a lot better. You can say it's hurt. You can say it's injuries. You can say it's coaching. You can say effort. You can say all that stuff and everything. The effort is there. I think the guys are just maybe we need a new voice mid-season. I hate saying that mid-season. Maybe we just need to hear a new voice to motivate us to do something better.
Well, and I tell you what, and I was telling Jason this earlier, and everybody in here. I truly believe I'm not a believer in firing your OC or
Me neither.
DC in the middle of the season. I just
No.
it just doesn't work. But I think Coach Venables has got to go and sit down in offensive meetings.
Yeah.
I know his focus is, he's a defensive guy, but he's gonna, people say, well, he doesn't really know offense, but you
Shit.
know,
You got to know
he,
offenses to play, have a good damn defense.
to have a good defense, you got to know the offense, and
Yes.
so he needs to go sit in those meetings. And you know what? At the end of the day, he may end up being the offensive coordinator for the rest of the season, and just telling those guys this is what we're running. And again, you're still going to work as a team, but he needs to become way more involved in the offensive play calling because it's not it's bad. That's the
Yeah.
worst offense I've seen out of OU and I don't know how long.
Well, this is what I told Jason. I think it was Monday night or either last night that we got on, and it was Monday night. And I asked him this question, and I'm gonna ask you, um, if it if it does come to having a different voice in the room, and I'm like you, I don't want to change coaches mid-season because then there's not enough time to implement a new offense to finish out a season. You'll be behind the gun
Yeah,
every game.
all the time. Yeah.
Uh, who would you think would be a great OC? And also, do you think they need an OC and a quarterbacks coach, or just an OC?
You know what? I'm good. I think you can do it either way, yeah, and I think you've probably done it both ways. I think you can do it either way. Here's my issue, and I was talking about this early on in the podcast.
Yeah,
Two OCs.
it
Why the
never
hell do
worked.
you have two
It
OCs?
never
It,
exactly.
it, it never works,
Yeah,
coach. I mean,
yeah,
you're going to have some dissension in there. I don't care how you slice it or dice it. This
exactly,
guy's going to want to run the ball. This guy wants to throw the ball. This
exactly.
guy likes these plays. This guy like, and you know what? It doesn't even have to come out and be said out loud. The
Yeah,
players pick that up, and
yeah,
and and once the players pick it up, hell, it's not good. To me, I truly believe this. If I was going to do something, and I may not fire him as the OC publicly,
but at least demote him.
but internally,
Yes, sir.
I would say, look, guys, Beatonbow is going to run the offense.
Yeah,
Coach, you coach whatever, quarterbacks, whatever, but he's going to be our guy. Now we're not going to say that publicly,
yeah,
but internally that's what's going to happen. And the reason I do like Beatonbow, and I asked earlier, has he been an OC? But the reason I like him is, and I always liked O line guys really as OCs because they get it. I mean, they understand the blocking schemes. They understand what
yeah,
it takes. Hell, if we're down on the goal line and you got a guy back there that's OC that all he wants to do is throw the damn ball in the end zone, and when you're 2 yards from the goal line and you can run the ball in. O line guys get that stuff.
yeah,
So that's what if I was BV, I would take Beatonbow, make him the OC. But none of us would know that he did it. We shouldn't know. That ought to be an internal deal.
yeah.
And if even if it goes shitty, I know you got Seth that's saying, well, hell, I wasn't even running the offense. Well, hell, you weren't running it to start with because y'all weren't worth a shit.
True.
So at the end of the day, y'all there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My screen, man, I'm struggling, dudes. My screen went black. There we go.
Are you
but
back?
but I'm back. I'm back. Wow. uh, but anyway, that's what I would do. I would keep it internal and make the changes that I need to make. And again, fans are going to be fans. They're going to bitch and moan and complain, but they don't know because they're not there every day. And somebody
Right.
somebody said earlier in here, Coach Ricks, hell, we could sit on the couch and draw better plays up and call better plays than uh, than
No, you
than
can't.
no.
You can't.
And I even chastised them a little bit for that because damn it, when you sit on the coaching side of the equation, you understand that's bullshit. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, it's easy to sit on the damn couch drinking a Bud Light or a
Heineke.
Ultra and shit. You can call all kinds of damn plays, especially after the play's over. Oh shit, he should have run the counter instead of the
Sure.
sweep, or
Oh yeah, it's easy to yeah. Anybody can sit there from the couch and fucking say what should have been ran after you get to watch it
Hey,
after
I
the
got to
fact.
tell you, I've become a better coach myself.
Well, you know why it's so easy to call plays, because in real life, and coach, you know this, in real life game situations, you're going to have to implement stress. You're going to have to implement the what ifs. You're going to have to worry about the health and well-being of players, because the wrong play that you call could really hurt someone if you send him in the wrong direction, or uh, you miss a block, or something that go everybody don't get on the same page, and a defensive end come and hit the quarterback from the blind side.
Yeah.
Everybody can sit here and say anything they want to say, but they don't know what an X route is. They don't know what a Z route is. They don't know anything about trips left. They don't know about sending the guy in motion and see if the safety is going to move. There's so many variables into calling one single play.
One play,
Not
yes.
not a game.
Yeah, just
One play. And
Yeah.
you have to ask this gentleman or this quarterback, this 18, 19-year-old kid, to make a grown man decision that some of us can't even make ourselves the older we are. So I always laugh when people say, "Oh man, I can call the game better than he can." Man, set your ass down somewhere and chill, because like you said, they're making millions. So that old saying, the more money you make, the more problems you have, the more stress you're going to have in this ball game. So I'm going to ask you guys this question because I saw something on the game and I wanted to get your feel for it. Did it look to you guys that Michael was looking for the first read, and then if that read wasn't there, he was out of the pocket?
Ask that one more time. Say that to me again.
If you watched the game, did you see Michael make one read, and then just if that one read wasn't there, he's gone? Or
No, he was going through the progression.
okay, I asked someone that question, and the reason why I asked that question is because, Jason, what you just said, sometimes and everything, everybody sees a game different
Mm-hmm.
than what a person like Coach and myself that watch film is. That I look at the tackles, the guards. Did the receivers run the right route? Did the receivers get off the line hard?
Sure.
You can tell a lot about a way one play is ran. I think Michael is the right guy to have in there. I just think, man, that we need to start running plays that
Make it
complement our
easier.
offense, because running the
Amen,
ball
brother.
on the outside of tackle was working the whole damn game, and then we
Sure.
just went away from
You
it.
didn't go back to it. Yeah. So it's Gabe and Teddy were talking about that, right? Too, yesterday. I would tell you that when it comes to that kind of stuff, they were talking about that and how that the sprint run concepts that they were doing, those are tough to learn, you know.
Yeah.
And it also something I saw from Jay, and I was noticing it when I was watching it, because I've seen it now probably 5 or 6 times. It's god awful to watch that many fucking times of them being that bad. But I love to watch film for the same reasons as what you guys are talking about. Hey, thanks for coming in, guys. Sooner Legend,
Yeah,
Champion Standard. Thanks for both of you guys coming in. Good to see you guys in here as well. But I think some of the things that and it was some of the things that I thought of, and then you hear stuff from Gabe and Teddy. And again, I love their show, man. They are same thing that I kind of feel whenever you watch DMAC and Barry and DMAC, you know, that they're going to give you some different stuff coming from the film. And with Gabe, you know, he seems to see it in certain areas, and he was like, "Look, I don't know why you decide that that's what you're going to go with, rather than." And then you don't, you know, we've all been kind of bitching about the inside, running the inside stretch zone stuff, right, to the inside of the line,
yeah,
which is wild. But I would just say that you didn't even run it one time. So everything you're supposed to be, that's what we were talking about when you came in, is building off of play concepts, you know, especially with a run game, everything you do is to build to something, right? You set a foundation with this run concept, and we've run that concept now. This is for the 3rd straight year that inside zone has been the basis of your offense, right? And you don't run it one time. But then you go to this stretch zone stuff that doesn't really work, and you continue going with it, and it just seemed like it would never really. I kept thinking, I kept thinking that it looked like it was a broken damn play at some point. You know what I mean? With that little stretch zone that they were running, it certainly didn't seem like Michael was comfortable in it, right?
Yeah.
Certainly didn't seem like he was comfortable. To me, one of the things that I wanted to see more of, I would just like to see more simple stuff. I would love to see you just run a simple outside zone, stretch zone kind of play. I'd love to see them run some simple screens to the outside a little bit to get it on the edges a little more, like we've talked about. And I definitely want to see you at least test it down the field. You know, you got to do it, because unless you do, it's just, you're never going to get those guys out of the box, you know. And rather than going with a tougher scenario for a brand new quarterback that's a freshman, why not just dumb it down a little bit to really basic stuff and let him go be an athlete? That's just my question.
No, you're right, because what you just said, make it simple, is I know coach ran it because I know I run it. If you go to a 12 personnel and go to an out formation and run off the tackle, you're going to get 5-6 yards every damn time. There's the 12 personnel with an extra fullback in the back. Tackle and guard, double team down, have the fullback or whoever's in the fullback pretty much hit the end, and now the running back has a decision. I can go outside or I can hit the gap, and that gets you 5-6 yards. That is the simplest old school from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade I formation, 12 personnel, 44 dive, 48 dive. Those are the basic things that you can go back to that's going to help you do this. And this is what I mean, the simple stuff. It doesn't have to be Z formation, motion left. Oh, just keep it simple. And then once you progress, then you can start implementing all that other stuff in there to catch them off guard. That's what frustrates me. That's what frustrates me. Being an offensive coach, that frustrates me to know that a high school team can run plays better than you can, and you're in college, and you are a college coach that is supposed to have a knowledge of the offense.
That was for J-Day. Sorry, wasn't for you, Coach.
I knew it was too.
Kiss my ass, J-Day. Go fuck yourself.
You know what? The one thing I'm gonna say about this week, and this is where I give Texas credit if they can go and do the same thing to Georgia. Now, that's a big task.
And they might be able to.
They might be able to.
I mean, they might be able to. Georgia's not exactly looking like they're world beaters right now.
But you know one thing that Georgia is? They're consistent.
Yeah. They are
at least they're consistent. But no, man, I love what you guys were saying earlier, man. I was on the way home and I was checking it out, man, and I was loving everything because the energy's there from you guys, and everybody knows that BV is the right guy. I think that's the only thing that bothers me is that I don't want to say he's never had a clean slate, but to have your 6 top receivers out, that's hard. And I don't want to make excuses, but that is hard.
Well, and I think that's a fair part of this entire thing to agree with, is that it's easy for us to sit here. Nobody gives a shit about it. I know that. We can see that in here. But the truth of the matter is, it's hard to look good offensively when you have had the kind of injuries that they've had. Now, that being said, you've recruited a bunch of guys that are high 4 stars and even probably should be 5-star guys. So let's not act like, you know, that you've got a bunch of junk out there, and because you don't. We know better than that. Now, that would be the other thing that I'm struggling to understand, some of their substitution patterns. I've said this a bunch of times with DeMarco Murray. I don't love it. I can't stand what he does with his substitution patterns. But I think that, you know, when it comes to Taylor Tatum, as much as we love his abilities, he's got to do a better job of making plays.
Yeah.
He's got to do a better job of knowing what your assignment is and doing that, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go out there and and play on your ability, your natural ability. You got to go out there and do your job. So, I mean, this is coming from everywhere too. You can see it. Forget the fumble. It's not even so much about that. It just doesn't look like he always knows what he's doing. And it's your job to know that, whether you're a freshman or not. Okay. You've got to know your job. So you can't exactly, let him off the hook on everything. But I'd love to see more of him. But I'd also love to see guys like, why is it that we're hearing things like Devon Mitchell was, practice team player of the week and stuff like that, and we don't see him at all? And we're talking about a guy that's 6'5". We're also, and then you've got guys like Ivan Carrion, who's 6'6", runs a 4.5, and we've seen him very little. We've seen him in 2 games, probably for 2 plays per game. I don't know. I don't understand that. And Zion Kearney, he led the team in catches last week, and it's rare that we see the guy in the game. I would love to see more of these young guys. If we're talking about we've got our top 5 guys out, okay, but we need to find out who the next best 5 guys are. And I don't think that you've given all of them a fair shake to find out who they are, right? That's a lot of the and I don't want to stay on this conversation. In fact, I'm pretty fucking sick of it. To be quite honest with you, it's a conversation that we're going to continue having throughout not just throughout this week, but throughout the rest of this season. It's one of those things that you've got to see. He's not injured. If he was injured, he wouldn't.
Yeah,
he'd be on the injury report. He's not. That's not a fact. That's not a fact.
Hey, Jason, before you get off this, I can ask Coach a question to something what you just said. Coach, if you have freshmen on your team that you've raved about, talked about, they're the next best thing, and they're not playing, there's only 2 reasons why they're not playing. Can you give me those 2 reasons?
Well,
I already know what you're going to say.
I know what it is.
Well, number one is, and I'm trying to think of exactly how.
I'll give you one. Help you out. If I'm saying that I have freshmen that are coming in that are the next big thing, and all this rave is about them and everything, and they're not playing.
Well, one would be that you think that the players that have been there deserve to be continuing to play.
Okay.
Except for you got all these injuries, though, right?
Yeah. Well, no, that's one of them.
And number two, were you friggin' lying that you didn't think he was that good? I don't know.
Bingo. Well, we live in this age of social media.
Yeah.
And we have to put a good product out there. We have to sell that these guys are this, these guys are this. If I have a freshman that came in and he checks all the boxes and does everything in practice, but he does not play in the ball game, I don't really trust him in the ball game to do that.
Right.
Or 2, he's green in some areas, but excelled in other areas. And what I mean by that is, in a game, you have moments to where when you shine, and then there's moments in everything when you F up.
Yep.
And in a game like that, you really don't think that you need to F up, but that game they did F up.
Yeah.
So you have there's nothing. What's stopping you from putting those guys in? Because BB said he's not all about saving red shirts. If you can play, you can play.
You can't be about that anymore, man.
No,
in this days
you can't.
college football. You can't.
But see, they're trying to keep guys from playing so they can get four more years or 3 more years out of them. And I'm never like that.
So my question becomes, when you made that statement, was, so is BV are BV and Seth not on the same page on that?
I don't think they are. I think
because it doesn't sound like it.
Because he gave Labby complete control when Labby was there. He wanted to focus more on defense. So he went to defense.
Yeah.
and a lot of the jet sweeps and all this kind of stuff, that was all on Levy. Now that he has Zach Alley there, we thought that BV was going to release the helms to him and focus more on the CEO of the whole program.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it lets us know that he hasn't still letting go of the defense because he still has his imprint on defense
Yeah.
and he's still in the huddle sometimes in the ball game.
Yeah.
I think he needs to go get someone that he can really count on and trust to be in that offense to where he don't have to be over there.
Exactly.
Because as good
Exactly.
as Saban wasn't always in the offensive huddle, but he did have the headset on and he heard every play that was being
Yeah.
ran. And I think he got into what's name's ass one time, Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin
Kiffin.
about throwing the damn ball too much, and he wanted
Yeah.
him to run the damn ball. So I think BB needs to do that. Is just get him a good OC that knows what he's doing, and then just be a CEO over everything. Because I'm like
But you got
Jason.
to go get a good one. I mean, and Jason and I talked about this earlier. I think Seth Luttrell was the safe, easy
Yeah, without
hire.
having
It was.
to go out there and do some real
Yeah.
grunt work to find out who
Yeah.
can we get. Yeah,
But if you were
no,
going to make that higher, why the hell wasn't it Matt Wells?
I know. Coach, I told Jason this Monday, and I'm gonna give it to you and see what you think. I told him that if I needed an OC, I honestly God, I would go get Scott Frost.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been a quarterback at the highest level.
Yep.
He's been an OC at the highest level at Oregon.
Yep.
And the third thing, which is very important, he has something to prove because getting fired at Nebraska, there is this little stigma about him right now. So to come
Yeah.
into Oklahoma and change that offense around and make it
Yeah.
hum again, that could get him back on the track to be a coach again.
Yeah. I think he definitely would be one of those dudes that you need to look at. Because I
Anybody
agree with you. I mean,
anybody be better than Seth. Anybody. It's going to take one of those coaches from a mid-major to come in here and be like, "Oh man, I got the keys to the Mercedes, the Benz, the Tesla. I got everything here. You don't need anything else when you come in here and you have all these weapons. You just come in
well,
here and just do your thing."
that's what I think I would do. You know, once the season's over, I would
Tim Beck is
definitely go out there and find a good, young, upcoming coach that, he doesn't have to be a D1 guy. Find somebody out there that's young, upcoming, and go hire their ass.
Or a guy like, who doesn't want to get a guy like Tim Beck? I mean, this dude is getting it done with lesser talent, and he's not so stuck on one type of offense or anything like that. He's not that square peg round hole guy. He's going to take the players that he got, and he's going to put them in a situation that's good for them, right? It's easy to sit here and talk about some of these. I like Brendan Marion too, guys. Just so you understand, I love Brendan Marion. You know why? Not because I don't love gimmicky offenses any more than the next guy, but I'll tell you one thing. I like offenses that produce in the passing game and in the running game, and it does both.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I would tell you that Beck, look, man, all you got to do is go look at Diego Pavia and what he's done at New Mexico State and at Vanderbilt. I mean, he's won big football games everywhere he's been. And we're not talking about a guy who's the best, who's got the best arm or even that's the fastest or whatever, but he's pretty good at a lot of stuff. He's not really going to be that guy that's going to be, right now, I think we're about to get into some talk about Heisman stuff, but I mean, more times than not, you're not going to look at a guy like that and say, yeah, that's a Heisman Trophy guy, right? I don't see that. But I do think that, guys like Willie Corn, that's another good one. I like him too. The guy at Louisville who's with Jeff Brom. If you're learning from Jeff Brom, you know what you're learning some shit. I think last year they should have went with the guy that Penn State went with.
Yep.
You know, and we've seen what this guy does offensively in the last few years. You know, and without Andy Koltanicki, Kansas is trash again. Trash. And their quarterback's been healthy. It ain't even been because of the quarterback situation. I'm telling you, I think that there's been some guys there, and they made a mistake with this hire. The question, and we need to finish this conversation, but here's where I'm at on it. You do need to go find the best guy for this job. And you need to do a national search, and you need to find the best guy that you can get, and not waste time with, or not just blow it off and think it's not a big deal, because I think it's become clear that it's a big damn deal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be as explosive as you were under Lincoln Riley. You don't. But damn it, you got to be at least serviceable. You got to be at least serviceable, and we're not getting that. And we can sit here and argue about whether or not we think it's because of this or because of this or because of this or because of this. It ain't working.
Yeah.
It ain't working.
Yeah.
So, and I, Coach, I kind of agree with you that co-coordinator shit, I don't love it.
Yeah.
Never liked it. I think they did it trying to marry two systems together, which is another mistake.
Yep.
Yep.
You know?
No, that was just a disaster that was going to happen, because, like Coach said, one might want to run the ball, the other one might want to throw it, and then, hate to say it, but we know it happens. It's just not shown its ugly face, but there will always be animosity. Well, you get to call plays and I don't get to call plays, and I want to run this and I know how to do this. That's a disaster, man.
Yeah.
That is just a disaster.
If you wouldn't have thrown that damn ball, we could have run it for a first down. If you know, it just, and I'm telling you, the players pick up on that shit really quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my only thing was I felt like it was important to probably try to get this done, either at least a demotion, whatever you want to do, make somebody else call these plays, because to me, you got to do something to show not just the guys in dip, because again, we know that you're recruiting your guys at all times, right? And then you've got guys that are in this recruiting class that you have to show that you're still. That they don't want it. They're not going to just want to stay coming here with this trash ass offense the way it's going, right? Yep. I think that you need to show something that you're working to get better. And right now, look, there's no way you should lose this game at home to South Carolina. And I don't know that I feel great about winning it.
Ooh.
You know you don't feel great about it either, Coach. You know damn good and well you don't.
No, I don't. I'm not going to sit here.
There's no way that we shouldn't feel good about this, because it's fucking Oklahoma and it's South Carolina, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And a worse coach than they have on staff at OU.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Let's move on.
This too shall pass, my brothers.
I hope. Sooner than later. Yes, sooner than later. All right. Next thing we want to talk about. Hey, man, a lot of pretty damn good football games this weekend. A lot of pretty damn good football games this weekend. I think that the Red River game was the least fun to watch out of probably all of them. I've seen them all. I watched the end of Ohio State and Oregon. What an ending. There's another place to have a sore spot, if you're an Oklahoma fan, with Dylan Gabriel going out there and balling out. Looks like he can throw the deep ball again, for God's sakes. Go figure. But
I'm clapping for him.
I know you are. I love Dylan Gabriel. I do. We all do.
But I just, and you know this, I got so freaking tired of OU fans knocking his ass all the time. And I'm really proud for him. I just got to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes you have to remove someone from a situation and let him shine. And
that's what he's doing.
I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think that the struggles that they had in the beginning of the season is helping him now because they struggled
Yeah.
just like OU did, but they found a way to win the games. So they've been battle tested. So now when they play a team like Ohio State, that damn game was a basketball game.
But you know what, guys?
Lincoln
And,
Riley's on
and
there.
I'm
Lincoln
almost going
Riley's
to
in the
sound,
chat.
I'm gonna sound like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but I'm still not impressed with Ohio State.
No.
You know, they have probably the best talent in the country across the board and still get beat by Oregon. And I'm going to tell you guys, I think they're both good football teams.
Yeah.
But I think they both can be beat by anybody in the top 25. I know most people would disagree with me, and that's okay. But they both, on any given Saturday, can get their ass beat.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they could. I mean, yeah, look, finally, when it comes to that game, you start talking about Ohio State and Oregon. It's the first time that Dan Lanning's won a top 5 game, a top 10 game. Hadn't done it before. You know, he's always losing.
Yeah.
So good for him. Good for the. What a game.
Sure.
Are you ready to go? I was going to ask you guys, are you guys ready to say that they got that 12 men on the field penalty on purpose?
Yes.
I think it was that smart.
Yes.
It was you really had those kind of brains?
Yes.
Well, somebody did. Somebody on that staff did.
Yeah.
But really?
Yeah.
You guys really think he's that smart?
I didn't say he.
I didn't think he was smart. I just said that it happened.
He knows the
Somebody-
rules. Then. He at least
Somebody
knows
knew
the
something. Hey.
Well, and you've got people obviously that are sitting in the press box
Yeah.
that are looking for those kinds of things. I mean, that are continuously looking for. You know,
Yeah.
you're looking at, should we kick the extra point here? Let's look at our chart. Let's look at, you know, you've got people that specifically set in the box to say, hey, coach, we need to think about this. This is if these are the two things that are a possibility, we could do this or we can do that. And so, yeah, you've got people that are always paying attention to those kinds of things.
Yeah. Good game though. But I think as much as, I mean, we're going to sit here, we're kind of busting on Dan Lanning, but how many excuses do you give Ryan Day with this football team?
Man.
Don't get me started on Ryan Day.
Well, what was his kryptonite? Michigan. Michigan was the kryptonite.
Yeah.
They haven't even played Michigan yet.
And they'll probably still beat his ass.
And some teams just have your number. And it doesn't matter how good you are or whatever, they just have your number. And it's the same way like Texas and Arkansas. Texas is way better than Arkansas, but for some damn reason, Arkansas just have their number.
And I gotta tell you guys, I picked the Arkansas upset of Tennessee. And guys, Arkansas is that damn team.
They dangerous.
That they might not be worth a shit, and they may play the number 1 team in the country and beat them. I mean, that's Arkansas football. I mean, it's crazy to me, but that's why I picked them against Tennessee, because I just believed they were ready and primed to upset Tennessee. Matter of fact, you know, I think I told you this, Jason. I was sitting on listening in on Mo's show, and hell, here you had all these Arkansas podcasters, and they're all talking shit about how bad their quarterback sucks and how bad this is and how bad that is. Finally, I asked them the question. I said, "Hell, does anybody in here that Arkansas fan believe Arkansas can win?" Uh, and it was really interesting because there were several that said, "No, we don't think we can." Shit. But you're right, Coach. Arkansas is one of those teams that'll upset your ass.
Well, and I think they might even be better with their freshman quarterback than they were with the other guy. You know?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And look, for Vandy to go in there and back up their win over Alabama with a road win against a good defense at Kentucky, Vanderbilt, that's big. That's big.
Vandy's rolling, baby. Vandy's rolling.
We're sitting here giving, which they deserve it, against Oklahoma. We're giving Texas credit against Oklahoma.
They do. They do.
But they still have a tough schedule. That's, who would have thought Vandy would be where they are right now? Who would have thought Vandy would not just beat Alabama? If you watch that damn game, they wasn't scared of Alabama. They moved that damn ball up and down the field. And I was calling Jason during that game, and I'm like, man, look, they don't look scared like the old Vandy.
No.
So, I mean,
yeah,
they still got some teams.
And who's their head coach, Jason? Clark Lee.
Clark Lee. Yeah. But Gary Keel, Coach Keel, and he was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I know. My point.
How you say it, Coach? Hey, I don't give a shit.
Hey, Texas A&M. Who's their head coach? How are they playing? They're playing pretty damn good.
Playing pretty damn good.
Where did he coach? Oh, okay. Go Irish.
Again. Yeah, so good game there. Another one, hey, look, I don't know that, man, it was almost like the game, the LSU Ole Miss game. It's almost, you kind of had to see Ole Miss lose in this one too, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, shit, you should have seen LSU lose in it too. It's almost like a lose-lose there, but a good football game and good for LSU. Look, for as much as we've talked a lot of shit about them, their defense has kind of come around a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, I think that Ole Miss has shown that they're not the best football team in this, or not even probably one of the better football teams in the conference. I don't see it. I don't know. What do you think, Coach? Look, their offense is Carson, not Carson Beck, but shit, I just brain farted on his name. Jackson Dart has had a hell of a season, right?
Yes.
But for everything that they did and all the guys that they bought, they've struggled, right? They've struggled to shut anybody down defensively. And you got to give Garrett Nussmeier a hell of, whoa, what a throw he made at the end of that game there, right? Hell of a throw.
But they also struggle against teams they're supposed to beat. It's not just struggle against certain teams. It's the teams that they're supposed to beat is who they struggle against. So, LSU, so LSU was a LSU, but they're not the old LSU, the great defense.
Right.
As they want to call cornerback U. I just think, man, that they're not there yet. But as the season goes on, LSU is getting better and getting better and getting better. Now we're not laughing. We're not laughing at BK. So we're not laughing at him no more. So maybe he knew something that we didn't know. But I just think that Ole Miss is it something to the fact that there's something that someone's not telling us, that they think that this might be Lane Kiffin's last year? That if Florida comes calling, that he's gone? or if somebody else comes calling, he's gone. It just looks different from the team that's been playing the first four or five games. They just look different. And I
Yep.
just don't know if noise is being talked about, him leaving.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be about that. I mean, I think I think if you start looking at what with Lane, it was going to make it hard for him to take that job if they go to the playoff or whatever, And I think this almost kind of cements him going to Florida because the chances are they're not. They still have to play Alabama. They still have to play Oklahoma. Now Oklahoma, unless they're playing better offense, they're probably not going to beat them. But I think that if you were able to play better offense, I think they're, defensively, you should still be in every game. You really should. That being said, you got to get better on offense, and I don't know that I trust it. Until I see it, I can't say that you are. So, but I think that there's some games there that, maybe they're not as guaranteed to win as you may have thought before,
Yeah.
But I do think that it's definitely starting to come apart there. And I don't know, though. A lot of people think that he wouldn't go anywhere because of the fact that it's the expectation level at Ole Miss isn't the same, and it'll never be the same as what it is at Florida. You don't have time there.
But the kind of play, like we said earlier in the season, he has to go get portal players. He can't get the top high school kids because they're going to the Auburns, they're going to the Georgias, they're going to the Alabamas, they're going to the LSUs around where he's at. So I just it's just hard for me to know that if he had a chance to go to Florida to where he can get any Florida kid that he wants, man, look, whatever smoke, whatever weed you got, I want
For
some.
real, though.
I want some of that
Real,
because
though.
Georgia
Man,
ain't Oklahoma.
This is where I'm like, fucking Texas, man. It never ceases to amaze me
Dude, hey,
how much these
I'ma
guys.
give
Hey,
him
Jason.
credit.
Hey, Jason, or Stason. Is that it's Stason?
Stason, come on,
Mr.
bro.
Stiegel. I tell you what, buddy, give me a holler. I'll give you my phone number on here. You give me a holler, and me and you will do bets. Just me and you.
I got an iceberg I want to sell you and a lot of
Jeez. I mean, let's say that I'm not going to tell you that I'm convinced that Georgia wins the game because I'm at this point
No.
I'm really not convinced that Georgia wins the game. But I don't think that they get beat by double digits. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did win the game.
No.
No way. Because they're going to do some things that they're going to put Quinn in tough situations, just like Oklahoma did early on. They just didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah.
But they have the ability to do that. They put up 41 last week. They put up more on that Mississippi State team than you did.
Well, and here's the thing, guys. They're still the most consistent football team in the country over the last several years.
They've lost like 2 games in the last 40-something games.
And who were they to?
Yeah, Alabama.
Alabama.
Both of them.
Right.
Yeah. Man, look, hey, all I can say, man, is that I give him a chance. But one thing I know about Kirby, he'll go crazy before he give y'all 42 points.
Yeah, hell, he may even shove all your damn players too.
Did you see that, man, when he shoved that dude, man?
Yeah.
Was that like on accident, or was he just,
And he said, I don't remember it. Come on, brother. You don't remember that shit?
I know you in the moment, but he pushed the shit out of that dude, man.
Well, and the thing that caught me off guard is the damn officials acted like it never happened.
Like you see that one saw it and
he's standing right there.
He turned his back.
One turned his back and the other one just looking.
He said, I don't want none of that, because if you call a penalty on that, oh man, it's gonna hurt Georgia.
I'm through calling those games.
Yeah. So Yeah, I don't know. I got
Well,
a good
yeah,
game,
hell,
man, that
Yeah, mine.
nobody's talking about. And that's going to be a good game, and I got them losing. Auburn and Mizzou.
Oh, it's not going to surprise me when they lose that game.
I think Auburn going to beat them.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Auburn's going to beat them.
guys, there's still some teams in that top 10 that aren't
It ain't
going to
been
be in
tested
that
yet.
top 10 for a long time.
Well, they
We
ain't been
still
tested
have
yet.
we still have some teams that they're not going to be there when last call comes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that we haven't seen Texas put it together for a bunch of games. So, good for them beating Oklahoma, but
Good luck next week.
you're going to have to show me this because they won one big game last year and then didn't win another big game. It is what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm for sure. Again, I'm not positive that they lose this game to Georgia. I'm not. I don't think Georgia's near the football team they were a year ago. I think we've seen that. Defensively is the problem there, and that's not normal. And they let what did they get? They had 31 put on them last week by a really bad Mississippi State team. So, I don't know, man. I'm struggling with that one. All right.
Well, and speaking of that, how come I haven't seen our Georgia friends on here? They quit coming on, or what?
Kind of.
Did they get bored with football?
No, Shawty pops in here sometimes. He hasn't been on the show, and I've invited him on. Hadn't really talked to old Coach I though lately, so I don't know.
Shawty's bored with the season.
Glad Coach Ricks is picking Auburn. I feel better about Missouri chances. Okay.
Who said that?
Richard. Hey, man. I'm just telling you from what I don't think Missouri is that good.
No.
I just don't.
I do not either.
Richard Shear said that. Richard Shear, you calling out Coach Ricks like that? Oh,
Hey, I like it. I like it. Like I said, I got an iceberg in Antarctica that I want to sell you. Just holler at me. So
you know what, guys, and just
it's fucking
as we're talking about this stuff, I'm sitting here looking at the top 10. Texas number 1. At this point they've earned it.
Yeah. Far, yeah.
But they're not unbeatable. They could possibly lose this weekend.
Which one? Who?
Texas.
Yeah.
Oregon at number 2. They beat the team that they beat, Ohio State, but I'm not sure they're as good as we all give them credit for. Now we know they're as talented as anybody.
Yeah.
Penn State, guys, are you friggin' kidding me? Number 3.
Hey, man, everybody
Do y'all believe
losing.
that?
No.
Do y'all believe that?
No.
Huh.
But they're undefeated, and they went on the road and got a win over.
Yeah, that's all good.
They think
all
is good. Although
but they're going to get their ass beat. I'm telling you guys.
Okay, how many losses is that for old Lincoln boy?
3.
That's 3 now.
Yeah,
getting close to that 4 that we were talking about.
Okay, so Miami at number 6.
Have to run that dude out of downtown.
Miami
at 6. They're another one of those teams that
Miami might lose this week.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on Miami. And guys, I'm gonna tell you what, Alabama is hanging on by a thread, boys. They truly are.
They looking over
Alabama
home game. You win by 2 points over a South Carolina team that again.
Exactly. So Alabama guys, they're
a little scary in Alabama right now. I would think
they could drop out of the top 10 with another loss. You got LSU, Brian Kelly down there doing his Cajun dancing.
Mhm.
I don't think they're number 18. I don't see them staying in the top 10. Now here's the one I got for you. Iowa State at number 9.
I like them.
You like them?
Nobody in the Big 12 is going to challenge them except BYU.
Yeah, listen. Well, I don't know about that. You got Farmageddon at the end of the year. Them and K-State are going to fight. They'll fight it out. And K-State's good. Don't get it twisted. They're good. But I do like. I've told you since before the season started that was my dark horse team to win that league.
Yeah, you did.
They play really good defense. They've always played really good defense. Since Matt Campbell got there, that 3-3-5 in. They're the true measure of it inside that conference, right? Not only that, Rocco Becht was really good as a freshman. He's been better as a sophomore. And they probably have, unless you want to throw in, I mean, I guess you could argue about whether or not the best receiver tandem is at CU between with having Travis Hunter and what's his name? The other kid from CU.
Isn't Travis hurt again?
Travis got hurt. We will talk about that in a minute. But
okay, good.
Their receiver tandem at Iowa State is nasty. And I mean, for them to be playing this kind of offense at this point of the year still, and they're locking people down on the other side of the ball, I like Iowa State a lot, man. I mean, hey,
okay.
And they beat Iowa this year, which is a rarity, no matter how good they are.
Okay.
So
then you got Clemson at 10.
mm-hmm.
I still think they're suspect. Obviously, Tennessee could. I think Tennessee's going to have another loss or two when it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, they have to. They play Bama this weekend, and they play Georgia in a few weeks, right? So, I mean, you expect them to beat both of them. They don't rarely beat either one of them.
No.
Yeah.
They rarely that they beat either one of them. So, I mean, I mean, look, they've definitely not played up to their standard. Although, here's the one thing I would say is it doesn't matter how bad Florida's been. Florida beats them, and it doesn't really matter where it's at. Florida beats them pretty much every year. So for them to find a way to pull that out could kind of spark them in another direction. And, love me some Josh, but look, the reason I think that they can win is because their defense is really, really good. Now, they did lose their best linebacker this past weekend, so that's definitely not, but up front, they're deep. They're very good. That's why, somebody asked me if I still think that they have a better defense than Texas. I do, because they're better up front. And I think they're better in the secondary too. That being said, it's not by much. I'm just telling you they're better. But again, I think that, we kind of have to see Tennessee do it and before you can expect them to do it, right? Is that where you're coming from, Coach?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think we've got about, out of the top 10, I think about half of those could fall out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so again, just looking, I mean, and that's unusual at this time of the year to be making that comment, but because most years by this time of the year, it's pretty solidified as far as your top 10.
Yeah.
You may lose one or two, but we're talking about maybe losing up to 50% of these guys, which says a lot at this time of the year.
It does.
Talks about the parity that we've got going on. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Plus, it looks good for my Irish to be able to move up.
Oh, they're gonna move up this week.
We're making strides, and I tell you what, and Jason and I have had this conversation a lot. Coach Rick, so many similarities between Notre Dame and OU with coaches, new coaches, same time frames, and we were just talking about this earlier. our offense coordinator, we looked like shit on offense early in the season too. And we probably hired one of the excuse me, guys, one of the best OCs in the country, and yet we're looking like shit on offense. So do we fire his ass? No, we don't. But there's still a lot of similarities between our two programs, and I like both head coaches. I think you got to hang with both of those guys and let them. And again, they're both learning. Okay, and that's always a tough deal as a head coach. We all know that learning curve is tough. But I think we got two class guys that are gonna get us there. I got to tell you, just from Notre Dame's perspective, this last weekend, guys. Hey, we started running some RPO game that looked incredible, which is what I've been waiting on for I don't know how long now with Riley. And guys, that's another thing. People were calling for his head too. Riley sucks. He's horrible. And again,
Yep.
Your coaches got to hang in there with their players and fight through these hard times. And I think both the OU program and Notre Dame program have done that. And I think y'all are going to have another, you got another shot, obviously, on Saturday to bring all that back together again. And I believe y'all are going to do that.
I'm hoping so.
Although I will say this on another note, talking about injuries, Jason, you know what? We've lost 5 starters, and defensively, we just this last weekend took a huge blow in losing Benjamin Morrison, All-American corner, and so we're on our 3rd string defensive end, our Viper, and so we've had the injury bug just like you guys had. Guys, I'm gonna have to step away for a minute.
Okay.
All right.
Hey guys, I know that we've been on here for a while, man, but you guys need to hit that like button, man. We don't have that many likes on here, man. And I know that's gonna make Jason choke some of you guys.
I know, man. We've had like 600 and something people in here so far, and we have 38 likes. Yeah, it's not quite 10%. That's 5%. Come on now.
Yeah.
Y'all killing me, man. Y'all killing me. Run them
Oh,
likes
Jason.
up, man. It's free. Don't be a freeloader.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. I turned that position down that I was telling you about last week.
Did you?
Yeah. Just granddaughter wants to do a lot more things away from school.
Yeah.
Like she wants to do gymnastics and other kind of thing, and we want to make sure that we be there for her and everything. And I don't want to be tied down where I can't travel to go see some things that she's doing. So
yeah, you definitely should do that too. That's what's most important. And I think with Coach, that's what happened with Coach Roybal too, is he's got a grandson that same kind of thing. He's playing sports. He wants to be around for that. And
yeah.
Well,
I miss my girls. Going to school, college, and softball games and basketball games. And
yeah,
it really made me, it really hurt. And I just told myself that with my granddaughter, I'll make sure I won't do that.
Right. No, you kind of need to. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's the right thing.
But I like this more, man. I like this is good for me. I'm on a little bit more now, so just gotta get past this damn OU season.
Your loss record doesn't take a hit on this when you're doing this stuff, right?
Man, this is peace. This is peace, man. I don't. Hey, but I did get a wager in on a game this week. I found an Okie who wants to bet me this week, and we're doing steak dinners.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm here. I just about to lose this damn microphone. Go ahead.
Oh, you fine?
I'm listening though.
You should yeah. Yeah. Okay. We got a Mizzou fan in here saying hit the like button. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hit the like button, man. Show support, guys. Like I said, man, we love doing this for you guys and everything, man. But just at least just hit the like button for us and everything, man. It just helps us out going forward because it's just showing that you guys love what we're talking about and everything. So that's all you can do. We're not asking for no money or anything. We just want you guys to hit the like button.
Yep. Nah, man, we appreciate all you guys. That our regulars are. Richard Shear's one of our regulars.
Yeah.
He's always, Mizzou or not, he's a good dude. So is Rob 077, another Mizzou guy that comes in quite a bit. So, and even we got Benji, who, he's a Texas guy, Texas through and through. But we appreciate everybody that comes in. And look, hey, we're getting pretty close. Matter of fact, we need to look at that. We're starting to get closer and closer to. Coach is here. Coach is back. Sorry, Coach. We are
good, brother.
Closer and closer to 4,000 subscribers. We are at 3,968. So if you have not hit
my goodness. Are you sure it's not 3,000? Well, how many did you say?
32 away. 3,968. We are 32 away from 4,000 subs.
It's not 3,969?
Tis not.
69 is my favorite number.
I know it is, Coach, but that's not where we are yet. Not at least not. Hey, man, somebody could put us there right now if they are not already a subscriber to the channel.
Jump on there, guys,
and do that. Officially licensed team apparel with Fanatics, man. You can go onto our partner store, as you can see right there at the bottom, hofmedia.us/fanatics. Get officially licensed team apparel for whoever you like. Get the best deal you'll get on Fanatics. Again, hofmedia.us/fanatics. Jump in there. A lot of good stuff out there right now. And hey, it's getting close to hoodie season. So it's about time for everybody to get a new hoodie. And
right now.
You can even do it on our new merch, on our merch store. We're going to be adding hoodies to everything we got. Might want to jump in there for all you OU fans. The Texas hate don't stop because the Red River's over, because the Red River never sleeps. So jump in there, get your horns down stuff. hofmedia.us/pod-merch. Jump in there and check it out.
The brand finally returned. Fuck your brand.
Even though y'all beat me, I'm gonna still say fuck y'all.
Yeah. Yep. And then we had Sooner Legends hit 516 today so far, and his subs. Make sure you guys get over there to his channel along with Coach Rick's channel, Coach's Talk, and hit those subscriber buttons, man. It's important for us content creators. It's a free way to help us out. If you want to become a member of the Hall of Fame Mafia, which is our channel membership, it's as low as $2.99 a month. You can become a voter in our Hall of Fame top 25, which I will be. I was waiting on a couple of people because we didn't have enough votes. In fact, one of the people sitting on this damn panel right now, and he's still making. I gotta wonder.
Coach Ricks, why would you do that shit?
It ain't me. Mine's already in.
No, it's the other. It's the other coach here. For sure. That motherfucker. So, need you guys to get and look. If you've already become, and I know that we have some new memberships here as well. Make sure that you jump in there, become a channel member, and start voting. Start voting if you have already become a channel member and you're not voting. So you got to get into our Discord to do it. The way to do that is to jump in to our members only page on the channel here, and there's a link there. So you can jump into the Discord and make sure that you're getting to vote. We got Coach Ricks to vote. Coach Royball's still not voting, so you guys need to give him some shit for that, okay?
I hate the damn balls.
Shorty got a question for you.
About you.
Yeah, he got a question.
Got a shout out to the panel and everyone in the comments. What position group does OU have the biggest advantage on over South Carolina?
I got that answer. The fans. It's a home game. The fans.
It is a home game. It is a home game. Look, I think as far as, I like the defensive side of the ball all the way. Right now, I don't know that you would say anything on the offensive side. And I think that defensively, they're pretty good up front. So it's a concern right now. It's a concern right now when you're not getting anything done offensively. So
it's the linebackers.
I think the linebackers is probably it too. I think they've been playing the best of anybody on that defensive unit. Kip Lewis, obviously Danny Stutzman, those guys, I think they're better there. But that's we're gonna find out, man. You gotta play better than you gotta do something offensively to win football games. And this is a weird ass season, but that's kind of where it's been crazy.
Shotty, how many of y'all gonna hang on Texas?
I want to see it. Yes, Shorty. I want to see your score prediction. I want to see that.
And damn it, Shotty, I hope it's not a boring game.
Give it to me, Shorty. I want to see that. What is
yeah,
it?
what's your give us some what's gonna happen in this Texas game, Shotty?
Hell,
You want to jump in? You want to jump in? Hey, yeah, jump in here.
Jump in,
I've
brother.
been trying to send him a damn link. I've sent him links before. He just continues to not come and hang out with us. You know. I don't know.
He's bored over there. He's bored.
Yep.
Coach, when you came in on the phone last week, did you go download a app for that?
No.
No.
I just went on to.
So there's no excuses for him not coming on.
I went on to Safari and it brought me right on.
Okay.
Yeah, just go on Safari and it'll bring you right on in. Just put your name in and just hit join.
There it is. All right.
Yeah.
It's there. He can go to it if he wants to. Yeah, that was the next thing I want to talk about. And I think that you would probably definitely enjoy this conversation. Obviously, the Texas-Georgia game is big coming up. I think it's as big as anything coming up. I don't know who I've got on this game. I think we'll talk more about it as we move along. But I do think that Texas probably has a better chance at it than I thought they did. I think that Georgia has to play really well on the defensive side of the ball. And I think they got to play better than they've been playing offensively.
Shotty and Jason, I agree with that. Shotty, I've been watching Georgia and they're looking kind of boring to me.
But Georgia do get up for big games.
They do.
Here's one thing that cannot happen.
Me see, I'd be 5 drinks in by now. Come on now.
Quinn Ewers.
Like that matters.
Quinn Ewers cannot turn the ball over. He cannot turn the ball over. Because if OU can run on the outside, and if Georgia start doing that, Kirby's not going to let up. They're going to run and run and run and run and run the same play until you stop it.
Sure.
So.
Sure. No doubt. I don't know. I think that I'm going to stick with UGA right now, though. I'm not picking Texas to win this game. I got to see them do that before I would pick them to do it. But I think it's going to be a close game.
You got to go with the most consistent team in the country.
Agreed. I'm going to say 37-27, 10-point win for the Dogs.
I'm gonna be a little bit different. 34-21.
Okay. 13-point win.
And I don't give a shit.
I knew it was coming.
You know what, guys? In a nice way, fuck y'all. We don't give a shit.
It's a fact. It's just a fact. Coach don't give a shit.
Coach, if I had that recorded in my phone, I had a meeting today and somebody pissed me off and I could have said that. you gotta get the patent to that saying. Get the copyrights to that saying, man. You make
I
a lot of money.
Man, I gotta tell you, the more you put that out there, the more people are gonna come watch this show. So continue on. Now, next thing, let's talk about this. Heisman Trophy. This is the time of year you got to start talking the Heisman. I think a couple of weeks ago, we were pretty sure that it was down to 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
Those 2 guys are probably out of it at this point. You start Jalen Milroe hadn't been great. They lost a game. That's going to hurt them. I think right now, if you look at, Ashton Jeanty is averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 yards a game. He's got 19 touchdowns.
My number 2.
And then you got DG, who just went out there and picked up the biggest win of the season so far.
My number 1.
DG sucks. Y'all know. Y'all had him already.
Shut the fuck
He
up.
sucks.
Okay.
Y'all just got rid of a Heisman contender.
All right. Here's my 5, Jason. Dylan, Gabriel, Ashton, Gentry, Cam Ward, Diego. I got Diego, and then I got Travis Hunter, number 5.
Yeah, and Travis getting hurt going out after, the half the game, and they ended up losing. But that was another really good game. Look, I would tell you this, that as bad as everybody thought Colorado was going to be, a lot of people got to shut the fuck up now because they have been better than they were supposed to be. They're 4-2 at this point. They look like they might end up being very good. And I don't believe that they're going to go in there and win the Big 12. But I do think that they're much better in that league than we thought they were going to be.
They're better than Okie State.
Okie Light sucks. Okie Light sucks.
I think me, you, and Coach can go in there and beat Oklahoma State.
Listen, man, I know we could scheme it up to beat their ass. I don't know about doing it on the field, but we could scheme it up to beat them. Shit, who can't? Wild, man, wild. Dylan Sampson also has 15 touchdowns already. Yes, I think he's one of the guys that's up there pretty high also. But it ain't 19 touchdowns. And in fact, I think Genty actually has 20 total touchdowns already with, including receiving touchdowns. That's insane in 6 games, boys and girls. That's insane. He is playing in the Mountain West. But he had a big game. A huge game against Oregon. In that loss, I don't know, man. We're gonna find out.
Sooner in Texas, Hunter at number 5. That better be due to injury. No, the 4 guys ahead of him.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Dude,
I think he's in my top 3 right now. But I think you got hurt. I think that probably drops him out of contention because he's been the best player. Look, here's the thing. The award is for the best player in college football. I don't know how anybody can call anybody but Travis Hunter the best player in college football. When he plays both ways every week, he's getting interceptions, he's catching winning touchdowns. Nobody's better than this dude. Especially pound for pound.
But what do they usually do when it comes to the Heisman? Who has
I know what they do. I'm just telling you what it should be. I'm telling you what I'm not going to vote it the way it is. I'm going to tell you how it should be.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it be the best football player in the country. The most outstanding player in the country is supposed to be the Heisman Trophy winner. It doesn't matter what position they play. Yeah, the truth is Ashton Janty's probably not going to win the damn Heisman. And he should.
That's unfair, though, because it doesn't matter that he's in the Mountain West. Because didn't the quarterback from Hawaii a long time ago didn't he win the Heisman? And he's in the Mountain West. So you if we're saying it's the best player, it doesn't matter if you're playing in the ACC, the AAC, or the Big Ten, or the Mountain West, or the 2 damn team that's all in the Pac-12. If you're the best player, you're the best player, and I think it's Gentry.
Looky here.
What's going on, big dog? What's going on?
Where's them glasses, brother?
So I had to come on here because I didn't appreciate what I thought was the shot that Coach and Jason were taking. And I'm gonna come at you first. I heard the shot, Coach, what you said about it looking boring. So I feel like I'm gonna have to come on here and
Wrong coach.
No. I feel like
he's been saying it for 6 weeks.
Hey, I've been trying to get you on here for 6 weeks.
South Texas
no, man. Appreciate y'all for giving me on. No, man. I'll be a few in at this point, Jason. After doing our show,
on heard Coach Rick say FFK Texas.
I get you.
Coach Rick's never cusses.
I'm there with you, my brother.
But hi, shout out to the panel, though. How y'all doing, man?
What's going on, big dog?
How you been doing, Shotty? We hadn't talked to you in forever.
Hey, Coach. Life been lifing. You know what I mean?
Everything going good?
He lying.
Yeah.
He
Poor
lying,
man. Poor
He
man
just
can't.
been feeling. They've been in their feels about whatever.
No.
Not coming and hanging out with the boy.
No, life been life, and man, I try to get in the chats, you know what I'm saying, and show them. Look, I ain't even doing my own show, Jason.
Why not?
Have you
Why the
not?
hell not? I've been looking for it. I
just
knew
been
you
busy.
weren't doing it. I've been noticing that.
Yeah, I've been busy, man. So
I feel you.
Hell,
So
you
what's-
making
what's
all that
up
money
there?
is what you're doing.
where we at? What we talking about? I got in kind of late. What we talking about?
So we're talking Heisman guys right now. We got your deal, but where are you feeling on the? I mean, we were just kind of talking about. Really, I think right now it ought to be. I think a few weeks ago, everybody was probably in the Jalen Milroe / Travis Hunter camp for the Heisman at that moment, because you had Travis getting a couple of touchdowns and an interception in pretty much every game. They started off at 4-1. He looked
They
like
ain't gonna win enough games.
I don't know that they're going to win enough games, and he just got hurt in the game. He didn't even make it to halftime this past week, so I think he's probably walked out of that. But right now, you're looking at Ashton Genty is over 1,200 yards in 6 games. 19 rushing touchdowns, another one through the air at 20 total rushing touchdowns. We're talking 6 games in. I know he plays in the Mountain West, but he had one of his big games was against Oregon. So the guy just keeps on putting up numbers. I feel like he ought to be the dude. Dylan Gabriel be another one, though. Big win for
like Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, too. That was my next one to say. Look, they're undefeated. He's pulled off some games that they probably shouldn't have pulled off, but
yeah, they're not going to end up undefeated, though.
Yeah, I would say that's why I don't expect.
You just got to be in the mix in terms of winning the Heisman. You just got to be in the mix. You know what I mean? So, and then the Heisman goes to, it's generally a quarterback winning the award anyway. So a lot of those other guys who are in it probably going to tail off to us as the year goes on. And I just see this kid here continue to put up unbelievable numbers, and if they keep winning, once again, it's Miami, it's a brand. He puts them back in the conversation, and that kind of stuff. That's a Heisman story.
I think they need to win the conference championship, right? They're going to have to make that playoff run and everything else, and then I think if you make
the playoffs, long they make the playoffs,
maybe depends on how many losses they have. I would think it depends on how many losses they have, but I do think that, listen, I mean, there's other guys you could talk about. Diego Pavia, go to get a win for Vanderbilt, back it up. Over Alabama, they back it up with a win over Kentucky, who's got a really good defense. There's a lot of love there. He should be in the conversation. He's not going to win it. Milroe
be in the conversation then.
He's not going to win it, but I think that you have to talk about him a little bit for. Diego's played his ass off.
For the Heisman?
Played his ass off.
For the Heisman?
Played his ass off, man. When the hell is the last time that you've seen a Vanderbilt team that's worth a damn?
That has nothing. We talking about the Heisman.
Hey, Shorty, check this out.
What would they be without him? Would they be without him?
I'm getting ready to try to advocate for him. Okay. Let's just say right now they got 6 games left against Texas, against Auburn, South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee. Let's just say out of those games they got going on, they go 4-2.
What's their overall record? 8-4.
So the overall record and everything would be 8-4. A Vandy team going 8-4 with wins over Missouri, either Texas or South Carolina. Excuse me, sorry about that. Either Texas or LSU or Tennessee will be one of your other victories. You got to put them up there, man, because the last time that happened in the SEC conference, a quarterback that had big wins, they gave him the Heisman.
I'm gonna say this, Coach.
Last year,
I'm gonna say this, Coach, and this is something that my friend, my co-host, likes to use. You gave me more context. So I needed more context. Now, with that being said, with a little bit more context,
boys and girls.
I can understand that. I can understand that. I can see that being an argument.
Now some of his backstory, right? He's a New Mexico boy.
Yeah.
He played at New Mexico high school. Went to NIMI. Won a national championship at NIMI, and then went to New Mexico State They drove they flew their little ass over to Auburn and put an ass whipping on Auburn in Auburn. You know, New Mexico State, first of all, y'all know ain't worth
And
shit.
they're shitty now that those dudes are gone, by the way.
Yeah.
Coach,
and then he goes to Vanderbilt and turns around and wins the big one that he did there. I mean, that son of a bitch is a winner, guys. He's a winner.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
I'm not going to say he's a Heisman winner, but he's a damn sure winner.
And see, that's what I'm saying. I'm just answering the question. And to your point, Coach, like all that to y'all argument, like I said, with Coach, what's your name? Coach Rick. I knew I just had a fart. Coach Rick point to both of the coaches' point, that does put him in the argument. But with that being said, any of these other guys who we're talking about, if they're in the top 5 and they in the playoffs and winning, that overrides his story. As good as it is, them going 8-4, that's about what it is. But these guys gonna probably end up being a top 5 draft pick, and the Heisman gonna go to somebody like that.
Listen, but what would it take for Ashton Jeanty to win that thing too? I mean, does he have to? I mean, right now he's on pace for what, 2,500 fucking yards? I mean,
wait, rushing?
Yeah. 6 games in, he's got over 1,200
yards. Man.
Huh?
It's just such a quarterback heavy driven award, and I get what you're
saying. Hold on, though. If you go out there and you break Barry Sanders' record for rushing yards in a season, and look at the moment he's on pace for. Now, I'm not saying you keep the same pace, but let's say you go out there and you keep this pace up and you hit 2,500 yards and you got 35, 40 touchdowns on the ground.
What's going to be his drawback? Everybody know it. What's going to be the first number 1 drawback? Everybody know it.
Because he's in that conference, but he's going to go to you're going to get in the playoff now. Now you're going to get in the playoff because who's going to beat you if you're doing all that shit every week?
Well, if he gets in the playoff,
I'm going to tell you who's supposed to win the fucking thing is supposed to be the best player, not the best quarterback.
But you know what, guys? And the reason I don't give a shit is because it's another fucked up voting poll because it doesn't go to the best player in the country.
Yeah,
it goes to the quarterback. You know what? Fuck the rest of you guys. Y'all ain't worth a shit. We don't need centers and guards and tackles and receivers and linebackers and secondary. You know what? All we need is fucking quarterbacks. So let's just play quarterbacks versus quarterbacks all year long. So in other words, the poll ain't worth a shit.
Hey, don't be giving fairness to Shotty. It don't make a shit with how many shots he's in. He can talk his shit and he can back himself up.
Or he got some of that adult water in him.
I don't like the poll. I don't.
Oh, I think that the Heisman's been wrong for a long time.
It's not.
It's been wrong for a long time.
Yeah, and nobody gives a fuck about fixing it.
Oh no, well. Look, you don't lose your Heisman vote. I mean, once you get a Heisman vote, you keep it till you die. And some people vote all the time, some people don't. But it's a weird amount. And
I mean, you motherfuckers need to go ahead and die.
A lot of them don't pay any attention.
Over the last 30 years, it's probably been 25 quarterbacks over the last 30 years.
That many.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Quarterbacks and running backs.
My point. Exactly.
I mean, I think you can think about. I could think about. Well, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith,
Charles Woodson.
Is that in the last 30 years? I guess it is.
Yeah.
South Texas Super Chat, $5. Coach I'll take a loss to Georgia.
What are we
if you
doing?
can guarantee me a win for Texas.
That wasn't quarterbacks and receivers. I mean, what?
Like how many? Like I was just saying, based on the last 30, I said 30, but definitely 20. It ain't been no more than probably 5 people. Other positions to win the Heisman other than quarterback.
In the 1980s, they had a few defensive players win it. I think.
Whoa! But they're going too far. It would stop at the 90s.
30s. So 90s. So Charles Woodson, Desmond Howard.
Yeah, Desmond, Devontae. You had what's his name from Alabama? Then Derrick Henry. That's probably it. And then Woodson. So about 5, yeah, maybe 5 or 6 at the most.
It ain't been. It pretty much. I always go to quarterback. That's what I'm saying.
So, quarterback. It's definitely it become a quarterback deal.
Hey, y'all wake my ass up. Y'all wake my ass up when y'all are through talking about the Heisman. It's boring, as Shotty would say.
Well, give it who you want to win it. Who should win it, Coach?
Hey, Coach. Now, can I
don't give a shit.
Can I get on Coach ass a little bit? Coach Roy, not Coach Roy. Hey, now, Coach, you remember in the beginning of the season, sir? You know, we just talk about the beginning of the season. I say your quarterback play was not great, and you jumped on Shouty, and you came back the next week. Oh, the quarterback play ain't shit. But y'all have turned it around. So let me ask you on just being all serious, all fair. So
and you know, I just like giving you a hard time, Shotty.
Coach, come on, Coach. You know it's all good. So let me ask you, Coach. So do you still think you guys? Cause I think Jason said, and I agree with him 100%. Do you still think the 5 seed is still made for you guys if you can win out?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I was sitting looking at that this weekend, and I think the best, ultra best seed we could get was a 6 seed.
6.
Yeah.
Where's Coach?
And I would say the very best we could get would be a 6, and then anywhere between, if we win out, we have to win out, would be between a 6 and 11, anywhere in that window. But we got to win out, Shotty. There's no doubt. And we got, but we were talking about the top 10 just a second ago, Shotty, and 50% of the people in the top 10 can drop out of there in a second.
Yeah.
The top 10 doesn't look as strong as it has looked in years past. By this time of the year in past seasons, your top 10 was pretty solidified. For maybe 1 or 2 might drop out, but it was pretty solid. Looking at it this year, hell, anybody can. I still think Alabama can drop out of the top 10. Who else? Who else is there? Miami. I think they could drop out very easily.
I think it's the effects of the transfer portal and NIL. Welcome to the new league of football.
Amen, brother. The parity is there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to prove to be interesting as we finish, the second half of the season here.
I agree. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun whenever when all said and done. I think there's a lot of really good football teams still. Still with a shot to get in there. And I think you put at minimum 3 to 4 teams in from SEC, 3 to 4 from the Big Ten. I think you're gonna have it's gonna be it's gonna be a nice little collision, I think, once you get into there, right?
But I tell you what, for the first time in a long time, I feel like you can be in that top 10 and win it. In the past, I don't think it's been that way. It's been Georgia, Alabama. We knew it was going to be one of those two that was going to win it. No doubt. And I don't feel that way today.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a clear-cut best team in the country at all. I don't think there's a clear-cut best team in the country.
Hey, Shotty, I do have a question for you, though.
Yes, sir.
What the hell the deal with Kirby Smart pushing the player the way he did?
Hey, heat of the moment. He probably thought he was one of his own guys. Things happen, man. We all competitive. Listen, that's what you want to see out of your coach. That's what I'm saying.
I gotta give him props for at least talking about it. They brought it up, and he immediately said that he had already talked to Coach Leb about it. He talked to the player about it. that it was definitely an accident. I thought that was the right way to go about that, is that before he had to like talk to the media, he called a guy to hold Coach Levy and the kid. I thought that was a good move on Levy's part. I'm not busting him.
And I agree with that. And I tell you what I saw was him on a beeline for his coordinator. It didn't matter who the hell was in his way. He was on a beeline to get there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anybody who thought he was intentionally hitting the kid, come on, man.
Oh no.
Right. Exactly. I
Hey
just
guys,
had to read you a little bit.
To clear up what we were talking about the Heisman. Since I was born, 1973, which is 51 years ago, there's only been four.
Damn, you're a youngster, Coach. You're a youngster.
Wow.
4 non-quarterbacks.
4 non-quarterbacks in 51 years.
That's crazy.
4.
I knew about it. I knew it was like at least 30 for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Corey, let me ask you a question, and I know Jason, he'll probably hear this too. But I saw something pop up on my feed today. Y'all always know I'm trying to throw a little ish in the game.
Oh yeah.
But I saw a guy was talking about what basically BV was almost saying that he want to give JA another shot. Because
he's not going to do it.
At some point, they got to redshirt one of these guys.
Well, Jackson already said he's not going to redshirt. Jackson already said he's not going to redshirt. It came out breaking news. He already said he's not going to redshirt.
So that
But Shotty, I'm going to go back to what I've been saying for a year now. They had a hell of a quarterback already there, which now he's at Oregon and doing pretty damn well, I might add. But then Arnold was going to be the savior. And you stand on these podcasts and you heard oh my God, Arnold is this, Arnold is that. And now look where we are again. We're in that same boat all over again. Now Arnold's not worth a shit. And now the new freshman kid he's the savior. And I've struggled with that, me personally, because they had, Dylan Gabriel was a hell of a quarterback. Yeah. But OU fans didn't believe that. And it's starting a trend that could ultimately, I think at the end of the day, hurt OU if that's the trend that continues.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going back. First off, I'm just going to answer the question. That's not what the fuck he said, number one. Number two, he ain't going back to him. I think that's a huge mistake, and he's doubled down on sticking with Michael Hawkins.
Yeah.
And let's say, you can argue about whether or not it was the right move or not. At this point, you have to stick with that move.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're gonna lose both quarterbacks. Because he's already leaving.
Well, the DG train too, by the way, just so everybody realizes, I was on the DG train too.
Does Hawkins get more rope than JA?
I think he has to at this point. Because of the fact that you don't want to lose him too. Look, he's more dynamic. He throws a ball. He throws a better ball. He's a better player, man. He just is.
Arnold's gone. Arnold's gone.
Yeah, so I'm saying he got the lead. I mean, he getting the short end of the stick. That means he ain't even getting a fair shot at this point. He can't get Jackson Arnold. Because if you're gonna get Hawkins more rope,
this is not about Jackson. It's not about whether it's fair or not. It's about the way that college football is now. Okay. He's already shown that he favored Michael Hawkins. And first of all, that wasn't a move that just happened at the spur of the moment. That was a move 4 weeks in the making. And look, and damn good and well that I was on Jackson's side the whole way until we saw the way that he played against Tennessee. There was no excuse for the turnovers that he had, especially the two. The interception where you calmly and confidently threw a damn ball into triple coverage when you had a wide open guy over the middle. He didn't even look a second time there. And then you've got one that he throws it backwards when throwing it is not even part of that play. It wasn't even an option in the play. And he makes another turnover there. They lose a game by 10 points that they probably could have won. There was the bottom line. He was making every decision wrong. And I'm not, hey, look, I love JA. I'm not telling you that I don't think Jackson's going to be very good somewhere. It's just not going to be Oklahoma. That's just all there is to it. It's just not going to be Oklahoma.
I tell you what, I'm glad we didn't get rid of our quarterback because he couldn't throw the ball to feed the fucking starving birds.
I'm gonna tell you,
if we'd have got rid of his ass, we'd be in deep shit right now.
I'm gonna tell you right here, Coach. Coach Rick and Jason. I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't mean to cut y'all. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Coach.
I was just gonna say he got just as many losses as JA got. And in that last game, it was a lot of throws that he should have tried to make that he didn't attempt, and he was running the ball.
Yeah.
Well, I would tell you that there was he's missed some. I'm not saying he's been perfect. I'm not saying that. But we've only seen him have one turnover period, number one. We haven't seen him put the ball in jeopardy, and we've seen him make dynamic plays. In the end, I'm going to tell you,
he ain't taking no shots.
I don't necessarily
That's the problem.
Well, listen,
I'd rather you take some shots, though.
Hold on, though. But Jackson wasn't taking shots either, bro. This is not the shots weren't happening because this offense is not being called well. The whole entire story, the reason that we came in tonight to talk about this stuff is that my first question to Coach was, don't you think you needed to make the move if you're Brent Venables to fire this coordinator right now? Because to me, you're trying to hold on to your recruiting class. I think you're trying to hold on to the guys on your team that right now it looks awful. Right now it looks awful. And I don't know what it's hard to tell. Look, man, when you've got 2 weeks to prepare for your fucking rival and you can't put a touchdown up on the board, I got a problem with it. It hasn't looked good all year, man. It hasn't looked good all year. I don't know necessarily what the answer has to be, but I feel like if you know that it was a lazy hire in the first place, they're trying to marry two different systems together. I don't think it was great. It wasn't a great situation for either quarterback. And I think it's definitely, I'm not saying that Jay got done correctly, guys. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that you have to stick with where you are right now. And this kid is definitely more along the lines of a Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams type of player. You're going to stick with him. You're going to stick with him. So,
and I think and I agree. I think
in one game.
I agree from the perspective that I think that the line has been drawn in the sand. They got to stay with Hawkins now. I don't think Arnold's already got a foot out the door. But I tell you this, and I think I alluded a little bit to this earlier.
Why would he take the red shirt?
If I'm a quarterback that's being recruited by OU, I'm really going to take a step back right now, guys, and say, ooh, do I really want to go to OU as a quarterback? That's just me personally.
I don't think that you're wrong to say that either. I don't think you're not with the and listen.
Hey, Shorty, to answer your question, the reason why he won't take a red shirt is because, like any other player, you want to play. Mm-hmm. You're not going to take a red shirt when you've got a little taste of what it's going to be like and what you can do. You're going to want to play. And by him taking a red shirt, it's pretty much him shutting it down and saying, I'm done for the season.
Yeah, and that's not a great look for your next team either. And
he's not going to play anymore.
No, we're not saying he's not going to play no more. I'm just saying we're not. If
I don't think he's going to play anymore unless there's an injury.
BV, the only way he gets back in the game if Michael gets hurt.
If Michael gets hurt, yeah,
that'd be the only way he gets back in the game. Because now you're telling the.
But think about this. So what he's doing, though, it's smart on JA's part to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to be available for my teammates. That looks good for wherever you're going next. And Kimberly, I don't know that's exactly what he said, but I would tell you this. I don't see JA staying. No. I think that is what he was saying. I don't see him staying. I don't see him staying.
He was going to Oklahoma State.
Whatever he said. whatever he said is fine. But if you're Jackson, you're putting out the right
message to the next
right
team.
message to your next football team.
If you shut down, they're gonna look at you as you quit on your team, pretty much. And he really didn't, but that's just the way that they're gonna look at it from an outside looking in.
It's business. I'm saving my year eligibility. This I guarantee you, and he ain't gonna have no. If he hit the transfer portal, he's not gonna have no
South
shortage
Texas Super
of
Chat,
Sooners.
$2.
Trust me.
There's no head
He
coach
won't have
development
no. He'll
video.
be in and out the portal just like that. Trust me. Whether if he take a red shirt, it won't even matter. Trust me.
Well, he can still take the red shirt at the end of the year if he doesn't get back in the football game.
So you just saying just not announcing it now is it's more about a timing thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if he doesn't get back in, he can just say it. He can take the red shirt.
Right now, we're dogging on all these players that are taking these red shirts in the middle of the fucking season, and then we're surprised that he doesn't do it. It looks way better for him for anybody. You're not taking as big a chance on him as you would be.
See, I thought you had to announce at a certain time. I knew it was a 4-game room. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you ain't got to announce it. You just can't play 4 games. If you play 3, the way they look at it, if you play 3 games and at halftime of the 4 games, you come out, you can still save your red shirt. You just can't play 4 games.
Right.
4 complete games. And that's the little bylaw they have in there, because there's teams that play somebody to halftime and then he don't come back in the game. He didn't play 4 games. He didn't play 4 complete games. So he can save his red shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's doing the right thing, though. Jason, right? He's doing the right thing.
He's doing the right thing. I don't know that he's necessarily. I don't think he's staying. He maybe he did tell Coach that. Maybe he did tell Coach that. He may have said that to Coach. He's not staying.
He said it on it was a while back. He had it on his little social media and everything, that he wanted to thank Oklahoma for all this stuff and everything. And I was like, why is he doing that? He's just pretty much letting everybody know that he's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
They were making it seem like from the interview,
chance to come back in. I mean, if he gets hurt, if you get an injury, maybe you do get a chance to come back in. And that looks good on him if he's willing to do so, rather than being kind of like how we're seeing some of these other people around the country, and people are dogging all these players, right? So
I think he's going to be like a hemorrhoid and tear ass.
Hey, I got a question for all 3 of you guys, and I'm going to get y'all's opinion because it was brought up today in a coaches meeting. What do you guys think about the 2 players at UNLV that left because they didn't get paid? Just quit the team and just left.
I think that if you promise a guy $100,000 and you've given him $3,000 and you're undefeated, how can you blame the player?
Okay.
Hey, move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a black and white, but it kind of is. But to Jason's point, I mean, we both making commitments to each other. You said you wanted me to come to your particular program for said reason.
Mm-hmm.
I came there. Not only did I come there, I actually overachieved to that point to where I was at. And then I didn't get paid for services rendered at all. So, I mean, for that standpoint, it is a business now. This is a new wave, so I can understand it. So I can see the other side of the coin about quitting on a team and things like that. But this is definitely more of a business now than any other time. Those players could have kids. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought I'd ask y'all, we use that as one of our coaching examples today on how we're going to do this NIL thing. And that came up on how do we feel about players that just decide they're going to quit on their team because they're not getting the X amount of dollars they were promised.
Well, I will say this. I will say this. If you were offered X number of dollars and you weren't given the money, then hell yeah. Why shouldn't they leave? Now, if they were given the number of dollars that they were told they were going to be given, and then they leave, that's a whole different scenario. I think you've got two different scenarios there.
They haven't put anything out in the press really because we were trying to find something on it, but there's nothing out there to say if they got half or if they got some or what.
Right.
No, he only got a $3,000 payment.
Yeah, we don't know what they got.
Well, I'm just saying, but that was in terms of
Reported.
what was released, that was what reported. Yeah,
3,000.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and Kimberly K, by the way, I do know what you're talking about, and he did say that. I don't, and I said that wrong whenever I came back with what I said. What I was saying is he may have said it.
Was it 18? Oh, man. 18.
No, I mean, I think I know he said that, and I know that's what Coach is saying. I'm just telling you, it doesn't really matter what he said. It makes him look good to say that and stay around, and maybe you get a chance to play again if you get an injury, right?
Yeah.
But it makes you look a lot better right now to say that than to take that red shirt and get out of here. You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I think that no matter what he said, I don't think he stays. I don't believe Jackson Arnold. But in you know, we're just talking about what was going on at the UNLV deal, you know, and to me, the UNLV thing, they didn't pay this kid. I know Jackson's, I mean, he got paid a lot in NIL money to come back. So
yeah. Yeah.
And that's
it's definitely a business now, man. You can't, it's just not about loyalty and because I mean it's no loyalty. Coaches, I don't want to get into it, but coaches leave at any point in time if they want to. So you know, I understand there should be a penalty and things like that, but just to answer the question, you know, just to that point, I mean, you can't say a kid is quitting on the team when he was promised something and he got there and didn't get where he was promised. I mean, in any other facet of life, you would leave that situation too.
Yeah, listen.
I think the way that I would have done it to not put it out there as that, I would have went to my publicist or went to the AD and said there was an injury and that I'm not coming back.
No, coach, it need to be known, coach. No, coach, that means so it don't happen to other kids. It need to be known.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that because I'm not trying to say that to hurt somebody else's chances of getting money. No, I'm just saying if that was me, I'm not saying anybody should follow that. I'm just saying I think to me it's more of a character thing. Being a coach is more of a character thing to me. But I'm also like you guys. I don't make promises to someone and then they come in and do what they're supposed to do and overachieve what they're supposed to do. I'm going to be more willing to give you more than what we promised because you came in here and achieved more.
Coach, let me ask you that, Coach. Yeah. You on your job. Your boss bring you into your job. He telling you this great architect. He wants you to bring you in and run this offense. He gonna give you, you know, I'm just saying $100,000. Mm-hmm. But you go there and you only getting $30,000. They totally did you wrong. But you gonna be like, well, I don't want to be out there in the news. I don't want to be wrong. I'm just gonna go on and slide on out of here. I'm gonna say that. You know, there was just a No, it need to be known that this administration do bad business.
This is what's wrong with all of it.
So the next great guy like you who want to be an architect don't have to go through that. It could be better for him.
Yeah.
There's two sides to all this, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the player is always in the right, but we know who's responsible for this shit being all messed up. It's not the players.
No,
it's not the players. The NCAA has allowed this to be what it is.
Yep.
They've turned it into what it is right now. And bottom line is it's on the adults in the room, not the guys that came in later. And I mean look, if you don't hold these guys' feet to the fire, they're going to keep fucking people over. They're going to keep screwing these kids over because you know why? Because they can.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get rewarded for fucking these kids over. And look, I'm not saying that it's always the right thing that the players are doing either, because it's not always the right thing that they're doing. But I'm pro player on all this shit. I am. Yeah. Plain and simple.
Well, hopefully, if that was to happen to me, that my wife would, you know, being smart as she is, she would make sure the contract and everything was up front because she ain't moving until money's in her hand.
She that's the right thing to do.
Till money's in her hand.
Well, I also think that there's another side of this, though, that whoever was this guy's freaking agent should have known damn well better.
Yeah.
Than to.
Yeah.
Then this is on. If you give somebody a reason to fuck you, they'll fuck you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So they should have known better. Then why is this guy his agent? I got to tell you that was a mistake on his part. But I would tell you that if we have an agreement, we have an agreement. And if you don't come out, if you don't finish off your end of it, I'm out too.
Yeah. Honor your end in the bargain.
Yeah. I mean, they're undefeated. And let me tell you, as somebody who lived in Vegas for about 13 years and they didn't ever win more than a game or two, 5-0 is a big deal at UNLV.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he did the right thing, or 4-0, whatever it was at that point.
Yeah.
He did the right thing. So it's messed up. It's messed up the way they do things, and
now, hey Jason, I'm sorry. Y'all gave me hell if I got on here asking me about
Coach, you muted. Coach, you're muted.
I'm muted.
No, Coach is muted. He was talking, but I think he's muted.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think.
So I want a prediction. What's prediction that weekend? South Carolina OU. Score prediction. Y'all already gave them out.
I haven't even given one.
Oh, okay. But y'all wanted me to give one. I gave mine for Georgia and Texas.
I'll give you one. I think it's gonna be 24-17.
Okay. OU, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
24, but shit, they've only scored 4 touchdowns in the last 4
games. At home.
They're gonna get
the reason why I say that, whenever your job's on the line, you ain't got shit to lose.
True.
Who's job on the line?
The OC.
Okay.
Offensive coordinator.
I don't know, man.
For your job right now because you sucked last week. You're gonna have to play some.
I think they better win.
Plays.
I think they better win, or shit is gonna get real weird. It's gonna get real wild around Oklahoma, as if it isn't already. I would tell you that I think they better win. I think it's whoever gets the 14 first probably wins. So say 17-14 Oklahoma, but I don't even know. I don't feel good about it.
You don't know, man, because you don't know who's hurt, who ain't gonna play, who is gonna play. I mean, we don't know until the last day. So, I mean,
what concerns me, it's not that I think that I'm worried about South Carolina so much as far as their offense is concerned, because I don't think they're very good. But I think that their defense up front is formidable. Mm-hmm. And it's been a problem. So it is what it is.
Shane Beamer gonna try to come in there and play spoiler back to where he coached at. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think Shane is probably the worst coach out of the. I'm not a Shane guy, man. I'm just not.
Now, I ain't big on Shane Beamer either. Cause I tell you that if it come down to it being a tight game and it come down to coaching,
he'll shit right down his leg.
I just do think they defensive front is going to be pretty
very
good.
Very good. It's very good, man. We've seen it.
But they tend to have
points to win, though, man. And right now they're not doing it, and it wears me out. But
South Carolina normally have the Auburn syndrome. They'll make turnovers. They'll do turnovers. Do some bonehead plays.
I picked it. I'm just not expecting much. I got 17-14. I'll call it there.
I think the only thing I do like about them what I do think may give you guys some problems is that South Carolina does truly attempt to run the ball. And not only will they run the ball, they'll run it with their quarterback, which gives them that extra blocker. And sometimes he get a crease, he can gas you.
Oh, he's good.
If they don't throw as much, I like our chances because then we ain't got to worry about switching shit. But if they're just gonna try to run the ball down OU's throat, that's a strength to us.
Gotcha.
But I just don't understand. Shorty, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you, man. This is one of the games, man, that before the season,
scared to death, man.
I would have picked 45-17. And now with seeing what I saw last week and how
y'all heard what I said. I've been saying all year I ain't worried about Oklahoma's offense. I am officially worried about Oklahoma's offense.
It's a 50-50 game, right? It's only a 3-point spread, right?
Yeah.
So it's a toss-up. Yeah, it's a toss-up, 50-50, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You like the shirt there, Charles? Thank you, man. I actually got it at a golf tournament, man. But I used to work at that refinery. So, but thank you, sir. OU versus SC first to 20 wins. Coach I says, could be right. First to 14, first to 20, whatever. Same. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a tough football game. And right now, I mean, I'm officially worried about the offense. They look bad offensively. So I don't think that they have a real plan on what they're trying to do. It's concerning. We'll see.
Coach, who y'all got this weekend down there? You been high, and who y'all got, Coach? Holy Bible?
Hell, I don't know.
Sister
Georgia
Mary
Tech.
the Blind.
We got Georgia Tech.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that might be a good game.
No, it ain't gonna be a good game. We're gonna kick the shit out of them.
Okay.
No, they ain't no team here to stride.
Georgia Tech. It's a Georgia Tech week. That was the one you were worried about at the start of the year.
Yep.
Yeah, I was worried at the start till I saw them play Florida State.
They're not as good anymore, right? Yeah.
No.
And they haven't played great after the.
No, they're not a bad ball club. They've lost 2 ball games. They're competitive. I mean, they're better than the team we got our ass beat by, Northern Illinois. But I tell you what, guys,
we're a better football team than you were that week, and I think that was a weird loss.
We are a better football team than we were at that point, and we're continuing to improve. We're finally getting an offensive rhythm.
Yeah.
Defensively, we're as we had talked about earlier. We're as good as most teams in the country defensively. Although it was what a blow to lose Benjamin Morrison, All-American corner. But you know what? Next man up. Here we go. Let's rock and roll. And that's one thing Marcus has done. He's recruited well enough that we do have players that can step up and play. And so we've got those people that can fill in those spots. So I think we're going to be fine. We are playing in Atlanta. Shotty, you can jog over and watch the ball game.
Oh, Kimberly K. She says, I'm ready. But you guys have put a slow leak in my optimistic balloon.
Damn.
Hey, look. You know as well as I do, I'm as optimistic as anybody. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to say about what's going on at Oklahoma right now. I'm not used to this shit. I'm not used to seeing that they don't have a plan to get better. And I don't see that they have a big plan to get better on the offensive side of the ball. That we're trying to get better is not really a good answer right now. So I don't know.
We always talk about
I think. Go ahead, Shotty.
What'd you say?
I was just saying, Jason, like I say, since I met him, that's what I've been telling him, is always about year 2 is normally the biggest jump for a coach. You had that big
South
acceleration.
Texas Super Chat,
The year
$2.
3, 4, and 5
Over
is
and
where
under for
really
OU points
where,
scored versus
you
USC
make your grade.
3.5.
And he's in year 3 right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that what we've seen that bothers me and what worries me right now is that I feel like the Seth Luttrell hire with Joe John Finley, I don't think it was a great at first. I mean, it's clear it wasn't a great hire, but I also think it was a lazy hire. And there was guys out there that would have been better for the job. And we're not seeing, when you got 2 weeks to prepare for Texas and you don't even put a touchdown up.
But
this is following a first quarter when you gave up 13 total yards, and turned them over, and you got 3 points to show for it. They're not going back to anything. Something that look, the first touchdown that he missed, they threw deep once. He barely missed the guy, and they never went back to it.
Yep.
Every time they had a play that looked like it was working, they didn't go back to it. It was weird to me.
But Jason, I have to say this. I heard you and a lot of the Sooner fans on here early on talk about Seth was going to, we really believe in him and he's
We
going to
do.
be really good. And but
No,
again,
Coach, I agree that the expectation was there for him to do what, I mean, look, he's been a part of Mike Leach offenses, but little do we know that they're not. I mean, I don't think that I realized or had any idea that they were trying to marry two offenses together.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And again, and Shotty, this is something we talked about earlier before you got in, but I've just never been a fan of two co-offensive coordinators. Damn it, get an offense coordinator and let's rock and roll. Two co-offensive coordinators is a bunch of shit, and it causes dissension. There's, it can split the team apart. And I honestly, and again, this is a guy looking from the outside in. I'm not sure there's not some of that going on right now on the offensive side of the ball. But that's just me looking from the outside in. I don't like that two coordinator system.
Is it a situation where you basically have a coordinator in the future waiting for the next guy to leave? Or is it a situation where when you have two, you don't have one at all?
You have two, you don't have one at all.
That's what I believe. I don't think you have one at all. I think it's, again, and it goes back to what Jason was talking about. You start talking about marrying two offenses together, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they were trying to do, because now that we know this, the reason that it was Joe John, it was because, I mean, because he could have left with Lebby. He's Lebby's best friend. He was Lebby's best man in his wedding and shit like that. I mean, but the idea, I guess, here's what it came down to. They liked Seth. And the thing about Seth was that he's always run the Leach offense, the Leach air raid. Well, Lebby's is different. It's the veer and shoot, which is, heavy RPO. And apparently, from what we understand, Jackson Arnold, that was a demand of his for him to stay, along with other things. But that was a demand of him and his family, was that they run the RPO, run the same kind of thing. So because they wanted it to be Seth, and then Lebby definitely on the way out was saying, yeah, well, Joe John can run the offense right now. He can run and call the plays right now. They weren't going to make him the play caller because he's never even been the coordinator. He's never called plays. So they weren't going to do that. Seth has called plays, but basically what they were trying to do was be a conduit between that offense that left out the door with Leb to try to keep it around and keep Jackson happy, plus try to, add in whatever. To me, it's a fucking terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. And I just don't agree with it at this point. The RPO is definitely, I don't know. And to me, that's the thing, is that for him being the guy that actually demanded they weren't, I don't think that he's that good at the RPO, because he never made the right decision. And he apparently couldn't count to 6, because that's a pre-snap read, whether or not you hand the ball off or not. And he never seemed to make the right one.
The professor.
Professor, what's up, my man? Good to see you. So, yeah, I mean, look, in the end, they had 2 weeks to get ready for Texas, and then he decides to make it harder to run the football instead of easier. And, Shardy, this is something I said earlier with coaching and stuff earlier, was that with the run game, whatever it is that you do, that's the basis for you to build on. That's your run game, whatever it is, if it's inside zone, if it's stretch zone, whatever it may be, that you start there. And that's what you build the rest of your offense off of. You build your play, your play action, all your run concepts are going to be built off of whatever your bread and butter run is. That was the other thing. They switched it all completely up to some stretch zone shit that nobody's ever seen. It didn't really work, and it's a complicated change to make for a freshman quarterback. So I struggle to understand what was going on there. In my opinion, they should have fired these guys this week and elevated somebody else who knows the just the regular air raid and stick with it. And maybe it gives you a spark. Maybe it gives you a spark. Maybe it doesn't. You find out whether or not maybe they're your guy. And if not, you're definitely looking for a damn OC for the rest of the season anyway. But right now, theoretically, you still got a shot at the playoff. You only got 2 losses. You go out there and you win out, you could get in. Is that something that's going to happen? No, probably not. But to me, you're signaling to your football team and to your recruits that there's nothing I won't do to put you in a position to be more successful. That's my opinion on it. You know? In the end, I don't know that there's a whole lot else you can do at this point. At the very least, they could have demoted them and left them in the, they could stay coaching, but they're not calling damn plays.
I think it's my little green screen don't fell on me.
The green screen.
Yeah, take your time, man. Put it together. But I mean, I get it. I don't, and yeah, and that's the other part of it. Professor, you just hit the nail on the head when it comes to what I believe is that here's where you need Brent Venables to be a head coach and not an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator. Sorry. You're in charge of the whole fucking thing. It's your record. It's
as we talked about earlier, Jason, BV, his whole focus right now needs to be in that offensive room. And he needs to make sure that they're running the offense that's going to make them successful.
Sure.
And he needs to say, look, you're responsible for this offense. Not the 2 of you. One of you is responsible. We can still keep the offensive coordinator intact, but you, Seth, you're in charge of this son of a bitch. And you better make it work. And then you sit in all the meetings and you sit through game plans and you spend your time on the offensive side of the ball during practices.
Facts. No doubt. I mean, your coaches can run your defense. They don't need you there during the week doing your focus has to be, what do we do to get better? How do we simplify this thing and look, as a defensive coordinator, don't tell me you don't know what works against defenses, because you do. And as a defensive coordinator, he can sit there and look at that South Carolina defense and be like, okay, here's what they're doing. This is what can beat this. You do that, you simplify things for your quarterback. This is why Bill Belichick is considered the greatest of all time when it comes to coaches, because he did it all. His knowledge, and it was always tendencies and everything else. And we know that's the thing about it, that I just don't understand where BV's at on this. And it's the one thing that bothers me is he is so very focused and detailed when it comes to those defenses. And it seems like a laissez-faire attitude towards the offensive side of the ball, and I don't love it. I've said it like this, and I'll say it one more time like this. When you're the head chef, you don't get to say, wasn't in charge of the dessert that freaking got everybody sick. You know what I mean? Yeah. You get your restaurant got them food poisoning. It don't make a shit if you did the dessert or not. You're the head chef. So be detailed everywhere. That's the problem.
Johnny,
what do you got to say about that, Johnny?
I heard 2 different things. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Jason.
I was saying that my deal is that I want to see Brent Venables being just as involved in what's going on with his offense, because it is his offense. You are the head coach. You're not a defensive coordinator anymore. You're the head coach. It's just like the chef doesn't get to tell you, I wasn't in charge of the dessert that got people food poisoning. Mm-hmm. The head chef is in charge of the whole fucking thing. He's in charge of all of it. He's got to stay, and as detailed as he is on his defensive game plan, I want him to be just as detailed on what he wants out of this offense. And you know what? As a great defensive mind, he can tell you exactly what they're doing at South Carolina and help that offense. Can he not?
So it could be a situation of almost like which came first, the chicken or the egg. Like he's put so much focus on the defense to get the defensive side of the ball right. And it may be a situation where, honestly, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing this out. I'm not saying this is what it is. But truly, he can't trust the defense to somebody to lead the defense alone, to go spend more time on the offensive side of the ball. Because if he go over there, the defense may fall to 2. And if nothing else travel, defense is supposed to travel. I'm just saying it could be a situation where which still falls back to the head coach, meaning you ain't doing right delegating and picking your right personnel, which falls on you again as being the head coach.
That's right. But that's the next, this is what you have to evolve into as a head coach. This is where, you have to be, and coach, this is what I asked you about it before. You've said before that this is the learning curve, is to be able to delegate that stuff to other people. And, him bringing Zach Alley in, Zach Alley is his mini-me. That's all we keep hearing. Zach Alley's doing all the calls. So you don't have to be at every meeting for the defense. What you need to be is where they need you the most right now.
Jason, let me throw this out here to you. And I'm gonna throw this out because I don't hear the news. I'm not in that area. I don't know. But I'm just saying, from what I hear nationally, I don't never hear a lot about what's going on with OU in the background. And that could be because your head coach is so much more involved because he thought he could delegate things to his coordinators. So he able to actually do other things that head coaches can do to put out fires where you don't hear about students doing this, student athlete doing. You see what I'm saying? I just don't know. But from the outside looking in, those are some of the factors that happen. A lot of time head coaches like to be able to do other things than actually have to coach. They always doing other things like the business side, fundraising and booster clubs and putting out fires. You see what I'm saying?
I don't think he loves that shit either, but I get what you're saying. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I think that's his next evolution. That's what he has to do next. And there is a reason why he's up. But look, giving up 21 points in 4 minutes, that wouldn't happen without two turnovers right in a row. First play right in. So it is what it is, man. I think there's a lot to it. Look, at some point there was also 9 straight 3-and-outs on that offense. I don't give a shit how good a defense you are. If you're on the field that much, the dam's going to break against an offense that's as good as that one at Texas. All there is to it. You can't keep them on the field all damn day. So anyway, Coach, looks like you're about to fall out. We need to get out of here anyway, too. So, Shawty, tell everybody where to find you, man. It's good to see you back in here. It's been a while.
It is good to see you again, Shawty.
Yes, man. I appreciate the fellowship, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. And, I don't need to sit here. You can find me on Tuesday nights or Respect the Hedges at 8 o'clock for sure. And sometimes you can find me throughout the week on Just My Damn Opinion, man. So just go there. If you don't know where I'm at, just go to Just My Damn Opinion. Hit the notification bell, and you will catch me whenever I do come on.
We appreciate you popping in here and giving us some opinions and starting some shit as always. That's what you do. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Coach, what else you got?
My man, Shotty.
Yeah. What else you got?
Anything?
For sure. He definitely is that. Coach, what else you got? Anything?
Oh, can I get a score prediction, Coach? Before you get out of here, Notre Dame and Tech.
Notre Dame and Tech. 45-21.
Oh, he feel good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to click on offense.
Yeah.
They look good.
Defense is still standing strong. You know, we're a lot more bend don't break than we have been, but we're still, you know, people aren't scoring a ton of points on us.
Yeah.
We just had to get the offense rolling, and I think we're starting. And you know, our offense coordinator said at the start of the year, you know, our offense in week 1 is going to look nothing like it looks like in week 6, and so we've made some progress there.
Right
We
on,
just
right
got to keep progressing. I like the RPOs. We're running that a lot better.
Me too. All right, man. Well, gentlemen, we appreciate having everybody on. Coach, good to see you again as always. Shotty, good to see you again as always. And to our audience, man, we appreciate all of you as well. We have had over 750 viewers of this live stream so far. I didn't even tag it up very good, but we've had a good night tonight. So thank you guys so much for doing that. We would love it if you would have get in there and hit that like button. We're at about 7% overall. But thanks a lot for everybody coming in. You know,
I know what that means, Coach Riggs.
I was fixing to say the same thing.
We knew what was going on, and tell
I get that, brother.
We haven't so long. Sorry, we
happy wife, happy life.
By the way, make sure if you're not a subscriber to Coach Rick's channel, Coach's Talk, get over there. Just look up Coach Rick's as you see it right there on the screen, and it'll actually be in. We'll put it in the description right after this is over with. Make sure you jump over there, check out his show, give him a subscription. Same with the Sooner Legends podcast as well. You know, Cody the Professor at High Top Recruiting. Make sure you get over there and check those guys out as well. Along with Coach I's show, the Fanatic Sports Network. You're going to find all kinds of content over there on Fanatic Sports. For all you Texas fans that want to get an inside track on what's going on with Georgia, you're not going to find it in a better place than the former Georgia player like Shotty over there on the Fanatic Sports Network, or at Just My Damn Opinion as well. Enjoy having everybody in here to talk ball as always. Bishop Frank, good to see you right at the end here. Love it, love it. Love having you guys in here. But hey, we will see you all on the next one.
Later, guys.